Oh, hello. I believe we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Yeah, Runt's supposed to be here, but he informed us that he was at the beach. And so he's gonna like zip home and then he's gonna like jump on. So we might see Sandy run. But anyway, I have Wax with me. Hello, Wax. How's it going?
Oh, not bad, man. How yourself?
Oh yes, so good and so ready to talk so much crap about these arenas. Yeah. So for those that don't know, we're doing a little tier list video looking at all of the ZLTAC arenas since 2016. I was going to do 2015 for Let Bendigo, but I figured we're going to be talking about Bendigo in the 2022 one anyway. And Wax also wasn't at 2015 as well. So that's that. If we have time, we'll also cover some other ones. Like we'll look at Albury Preenet's one arena, and we'll look at maybe the curse one that we've made over the last 2 weeks as well. Yeah, we'll see how we go. Let us know how the audio levels and stuff are. The music just stopped for no reason. It's just a bad song. No, I just can't hear anything. Hello, Wax. Can you talk?
Hello, everybody. Ron says it's not loading for him.
Oh, my headset just cut out. Bear with me one moment. Let me. What is going on? I'll be one second. I'm going to turn my headset off and on. We'll see if that works.
The cursed one will be in there. We're gonna talk about it all of it in its beauty.
Hello?
Hello?
That was so weird. My headset just like, it's like full battery and everything. It just like started to eat shit. Whatever. I'm back. Did I miss anything?
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Runt, fresh from the beach, mate. How's it going?
No. Good, thank you. Good, thank you. Yeah, sorry, I took traffic was bad on the way back, and it was a very last-second miss.
You're all good. I was just explaining how we're going to cover all the ZLTAC arenas. I decided I'm only going to do from 2016 onwards, and we're going to include the Rumble because, one, we're going to be talking about Bendigo for the 2022 one anyway, and I also couldn't find the 2015 Mazma. So
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, and then if we have time, we'll cover other arenas like Aubrey Preenet's one, or if anyone has one they want us to look at as well, they can like submit it. I'm sure someone in the chat will put in code red so we can put it into an immediate F tier. And we'll look at the one we made as well.
I'll even do it's F. Yep. Glad we're all agreed.
Is it gonna be on the program, or am I gonna have to watch the stream?
Yeah.
I will. How am I doing this? No, you'll be able to see it because I'm going to share my screen, and you'll be able to see it in the chat room thing we're in.
Yep.
Sorry, I should have been more prepared, but I came straight from work, so. And very below. What tiers is it? It's usually S, A, B, C, D. Do they do E or do they go straight to F after D?
Usually straight to F.
Just do. I think. Oh, do we? Will we need them all? Surely not. If we need them, I guess we can add them. If something's that bad.
I'm gonna do. Yeah, I just want an F on there because I like the idea of putting something in F too. Bear with me. Stream redesign. ZLTAC. Boom. Okay. We'll include all of those. Boom. All right, allow me to share my screen. We'll do. Oh, that's cool. There we go. I guess I don't know. Do you guys have any questions, like, or anything, or do you just want to get just right into the meat of it?
Straight in. Get in there, mate.
Go straight in. Maybe turn myself down a tad. Thank you, Mr. Polchrome. How do we do that? I'll just turn the gain down. Let me know if that's better. Alrighty. Yeah, so let's look at where we started in 2016, and that would have been Launton. So I'll get it up on the screen first. Oh, I need to stream my screen instead of, yeah, here we go. I'll stream my screen instead of the Chrome tab so we can actually see what's going on. Okay, there's my screen.
Getting there.
Boom. How's that look? Does that look okay, or is it really blurry?
That looks fine to me.
Looks fine?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let me hide this thing. Hide. Let me get rid of that. Oh, get out of here. Cool. 2016, which was in Brisbane, Launton. Where do we start? I remember this arena pretty fondly. I remember having a really good time. It wasn't the first multiple story arena I played, because I played 2015 Bendigo where we'd had the upstairs available as well. But I think it was a very different feeling multiple level arena, because obviously Bendigo was like the floor, and then there was just like a bloody apartment like slapped onto the top of it. Whereas this one is like a big open space, and you can kind of like see across the whole space and stuff. And it was I think in terms of like what the inside of an arena looks like, it was pretty unique. I haven't really played an arena that's been kind of like it since, but I don't know. What are your guys' first impressions of the Brisbane arena?
Yeah, this map has just refreshed my memory because like this was a long time ago, but looks bloody good. Looks like I remember it being good, and like I'm not seeing many issues on the maze map. They had the blue that everyone loved. They have the red that everyone's copies because it's amazing. And they had the green that I thought was really good. You know, like every door it has. Most of them have somewhere to panel around. I'd look at like that bottom door of blue doesn't look amazing, and that left door of red doesn't look amazing, but the rest look pretty bloody good. So to me, I'm happy. I'm happy looking at this maze map.
It gives you happy thoughts when you see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there were so many good things about this maze. Like blue was like one of my favorite bases ever. It's still like thinking about it, the way it played was just so like it was perfect. Like the barrel dancing on the back door, the barrel dancing in the base, using the cover under the base. Front door was open, so it was less interesting, but the mid play on blue was really good because it was just jewels on front door. Like it was all red was amazing. Like the middle of you had so many options in red, the way to play it, having that little like cutout near the red arrow, the ramp there, like that it was just so good for like that was a really good left-handed spot. Like there's just so many options. Green was so good with the weird like backdoor hold. The mid playing green was so good. Like I'm just getting sad now. What happened?
I feel like I can't quite remember what it was like attacking that left door of the green base, but like
it was AIDS.
It looks
blue.
pretty cursed.
It was like blue in Hobart. How like it also kind of made it interesting because it was like an option, but it wasn't. You had to like play around the idea that door was a lot easier to cover, but it was hard to like defend yourself from the back door. I remember it being somewhat more difficult, but maybe not too difficult.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that the defender, they sort of sit in between that pillar and that B, and they can watch like both doors. So if you call that left door, they can hop to it, and you're not really getting in that door if they're watching you, right? Yeah, that seems like a pretty well balanced base, because like the main shooter spot, like they can hop to watch the other door if they get a call for it. If you hold tight on it, you're pretty weak because it's just a panel fight, so it's like a 50-50 chance of holding that door. And then on the right door, you've kind of got like a bit of a pillar to work around, so you're a bit stronger, but still not like super safe. So I really like the balancing of that base from what I can see.
Yeah, I remember the pillar on green being really fun to play on. Like even just like from a defense perspective, or like from an attacking perspective, like you've come in with a teammate and you're sitting on the pillar, like covering them from there. It was pretty hype. It was pretty exciting, and people are like just like full Superman trying to lunge you out. No, I remember green being. I remember all of these bases being really fun.
Mm.
And I think the dynamic in this maze compared to what we have now, with having red and green up top and having blue more isolated, felt nicer than it does now, having the opposite.
Yeah.
And like the only thing that I would say that's better now is maybe the red we have now is slightly better than this, but this is still like an amazing red base. Like this base is still insane. Our base now is probably just maybe slightly better than this base.
And the difference is there just one? It's just one.
It's just
panel
one
in the middle.
wall, and the two like side pockets are like closer, so you can sit under the base. But sitting under is like very difficult. But it's kind of one of those wild card things that you can do, that you can like cover one door and it's like good. But this base was amazing. Like this maze, the way this is why we played 2-3 for so long, because like the way this plays is just that you just send your 2 best, they attack, your 3 best defenders defend, and the best team just wins because you're just better. Like I'm glowing right now. Holy crap!
You've been lit up, bro.
I was about to say, the base play of this maze looks really, really good. So pretty much everything around the bases, in the bases, externally of the bases looks really good. But I feel like this arena, there was no real mid play, and the mid play was a bit not the most fun because you're just like sniping down a ramp and they just have to run in a straight line at you kind of thing. So I think that's the main thing that holds this arena back, if I remember correctly. It's sort of the mid play is not as fun as other arenas, and there's some dead zones.
That is true.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a fair point. It's kind of I don't know.
At least in comparison to Rumble, though, you did actually use like that top ramp thing. But I guess in comparison to Rumble, that bottom left of green is where green was moved to is like dead. Nobody ever went there, right?
Yeah,
Like
no one
new
at the
green?
Rumble went
Oh,
there.
oh yeah.
I think I remember one time at the Rumble, I was like the red door defender on that top door here, and I've come down the ramp to like do some sniping and stuff, and I saw some dude like try and sneak up here, and he started like sprinting along this. And then I can't remember who it was, and I've like tagged him as he's come across, and it was just like 10 seconds of me watching this dude going on the longest like sneak ever.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
The way that there was some issues like the mid play, but I think this was before mid play kind of had really taken that step up. So maybe it was okay here, because I think it like maybe it held us back a little bit with the mid play like advances. But
I mean, the thing is, if you want a 2-3 maze where it's just like isolated bases, you're not just getting randomly sniped, and you just want to play a simple like. There's bases, they're fun to crack and they're fun to defend. This is a great maze for it. And you're not just going to get cop random shots in the back.
Yeah, I guess it depends. How highly you rate this depends on how highly you value the importance of being able to like have a meaningful mid, I guess.
I feel this is the best 2-3 maze though, compared to every other 2-3 maze we've ever been to.
I'd 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I think I would agree as well. But I feel from a competitive standpoint, it missing that middle bit kind of would stop it from being in the S tier for me, because I think the mid is really interesting, and I think the mid tier is one of the things that can really separate
teams.
Good strategic. It can like you might it allows maybe less powerful pack on pack teams, but better like strategic teams to kind of catch up to like better mechanic teams, if that makes sense, when you have a mid that you can actually like do things in, which I think is kind of cool.
Now, do we remember the balancing of bases, what that was like?
No, I can't remember what it was.
I do remember that blue struggled for pack.
Yeah,
that's one thing I do remember. But once it was annoying because we realized this after. If you just played blue, like your last line would be in middle mez, or like you would literally have 5 out of your base because you could control so much of the maze. It became like the best base by far. But I think people realized that after Nats. So at Nats, it was probably the worst base. And I think from memory, red might have. I'm not sure. It's always red. Let's just guess it was red.
Let's just guess it was red. I definitely remember blue struggling on field points though, and it makes sense. Like the red and green guys can kind of shoot each other across the way, they can kind of shoot down on the blue people coming up, and the blue people are just like trying to get out of like the bottom floor, like, you know, trying to get an angle or something.
I just
definitely
remembered
remember
something that makes me. The only reason I don't want to put this in S is because of the window at green. That is the only reason. I hated the windows.
Which window? Oh wait, you had to shoot
Rem-
into the base.
Yeah, do you
Great,
remember that?
right?
Ah,
Oh,
That was my only. I hated that window so much.
was it a grade or like
No,
a...
it was just a flat window, and you could sit on the ramp and you could shoot people trying to enter the base. And people
Wait,
from
oh.
red used to be able to shoot from red all the way into green.
oh, sorry. So not
Oh,
shooting.
right.
Remember that
yeah.
window?
Oh, there. That
Yeah.
one.
window.
Jeez,
Right,
yeah.
right.
That's the only thing I hated about this maze.
I
That's
do
pretty
actually
gross.
remember the push from green was actually really fun because you'd be like 0, and then you'd sprint all the way up to the end of the corridor,
Yeah, all the way up.
and then
to
you'd
here.
like get 2 tags, and then you'd sprint all the way back and be like 0. And that was actually fun.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
If green was slightly closer, this maze would have been. If the corridor was shorter and the mezzanine was all condensed a little bit, this maze would have been amazing. If there was like just closer together slightly.
Mm.
So I
Yeah,
think
dude,
I've
that run
already,
down that corridor was that was wild. That
Yeah.
was so cool.
thing with the window and just the size, I think it has to be an A. Like it's definitely like the top of the A unless something.
Oh, look,
Yeah.
I'd almost say S. Like this is, yeah. I really like the look of this.
Someone in the chat was asking what this is. Wax, the bloody UFO looking.
It was just the
ass
reload,
thing.
I think. It was just like this weird cylinder in the air with like the reload on top, and then it had like 2 barrel pillars. It was just a reload. Like it was nothing crazy from memory.
Yeah. I'd probably call what, like high A, something like that.
Yeah.
I think
feel
it's high A for sure.
I feel like the bases were fun to defend, but like when you're putting shots in, there's only like 1 shooter spot in most bases from memory, and it wasn't too complex base play, but it was still very fun.
Yeah, I'm happy with a high A for me for sure. What about you, Wax?
I think it's put it in A and then see what the S's are,
Mm.
and then if
Alright.
the S's aren't, if there isn't too many, I think it can be pushed into S.
All right. If we're lacking on S's, we'll shove them in there. Excellent. Any last things we want to say about the 2016 arena? Anything to reminisce on? Any cool moments you remember?
Us dumping in finals.
What?
Crazy.
Did you guys
We
win this
dumped
year?
base.
No, this was the second.
No, we got
This
third.
was,
This was the
Yeah,
this
first.
was the year
yeah,
before
that's
you
it.
guys started
First
winning, was
year.
it?
Yeah. No, well, we got second in Adelaide as well. This
Oh,
year
you
was
got
just
second in
us
Adelaide.
like scraping through because Lakeo got 15k in a game,
Okay.
and then we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah,
Literally 0 clue.
that's funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, very good arena, very fun arena. Onto another cool and fun arena that I think is generally well remembered. We have the Adelaide 2017 one. I miss this arena so much.
Mm.
Especially now that, for reference, everyone, our current arena, you see where is it? Yeah, the ramp is, where like the maze entrance is, this wall here. That's where it got separated. So we
Depressing.
lost over, I would say over a third of the arena, like almost half of the arena just like gone. And yeah, I miss it a lot. It was really fun. All the bases, even though they were laid out the same, I felt played differently because of, well, for one, red was like mirrored, so it played different. And 2, like the outsides, like the doors for blue and green specifically, like played different as well. So in spite of them being the same, they played different, which I think was cool. And I think the dimensions were slightly different. Like I remember blue being that like default spot in this corner here. Like the panel was a bit longer, it was a little bit deeper versus green, where it was a little bit shorter. So there was some like little things like that made a difference. There was, green, like we had the sandwich between the 2 doors here, but at green it was like way closer to the baseline, if not on the baseline. Whereas the blue one like was a little bit more in the middle. There was like little differences like that made a bit of a difference. But yeah, it was super fun. I feel like the pushes, the mid pushes in between bases, like when you got 0 at your base, were fun. You could like really help your attack get bases from defense. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like all of the doors played pretty fun. I think the only really like cursed door is probably this blue front door, because it basically it meant, because there was this cross shot from the barrel like through the door, and also all this enormous sight line down the corridor. If you had someone like dominant in this spot that wasn't getting contested, it was impossible to get into blue. So like this was the only like cringe door, I think.
Now, there was also shooting off the roof into that door, no?
Oh,
yeah.
shots.
The roof shots.
Yeah.
I forgot
baby.
about the roof shots. I still remember. I've got this memory of Bakura just sitting like near red base, near the like side door, just shooting the roof, trying to kill someone on the barrel. And I was like, "What are you?" I was like early nationals. I was like, there's no way that hits, and he kills like two people, and I'm like, oh my god.
Robin is very good at roof shots, and our roof shots in our arena are very easy, and we had them allowed. So yeah, there was heaps of really cursed ones, like from like this side of red, like off the roof onto this door. There was like from front of green off the roof onto like this door.
Playing blue door defender was just like playing in Israel right now. Like, it was rough.
You're just getting lit up from everywhere. Yeah, that was definitely. I am not a fan of roof shots personally. I don't like them. I think it's kind of, because it's something that like you can't always do. It's like a skill set that's not always like useful. You know what I mean?
I just think
I'm not fond of them. The issue with banning roof shots, if they are possible, is it's really hard to determine where they came from during a game, and then you would have to start doing things like going through logs after the game and terping people, like, you know what I mean?
It's just one of those things that will happen, but just like blanket it and say no roof shots, and then if people get caught, just make it a red button, because it's like sportsmanship and abusing a rule. Like, it's just two things, in my opinion. It should just be like, if you accidentally hit a roof shot because you like go to shoot someone and you flick up, then whatever. But it should just be a red button, and then it deters people enough that it's okay. Because I hate roof shots so much. No skill.
You can be doing everything perfect, like playing the perfect game, making no mistakes, and you can still just get shot off the roof. You can't stop yourself from getting shot off the roof unless you like line up with like a beam on the roof or something. But
I don't have bad memories in like finals and stuff, just getting abused by roof shots. But maybe that's because we just didn't really use them that much.
That's because all the Adelaide teams were kicked out of finals.
That's the one.
But, the way that this maze played was like, I would love to play this maze now. Like, it would be so bloody good.
We should probably speak to, like, for people that weren't there, why it was so good. Essentially, from my recollection and looking at the maze map, you had your anchor. They could play like in those back pockets and in the like claw kind of things, with half heights on either side. So you get players playing back and forth, flip shotting, and then like jumping to a wall based on their calls. So you had these really skilled anchor players. They weren't safe from both doors at any point in time. A lot of the time, if they came in one of the doors, they could cross around the main structure. So you'd have to adapt how you play. The cross call was super important. It was super dynamic within the bases, which I think is like a bonus in comparison to like Brisbane. So there's like a lot of ways you can move around the base that the really skilled players, you saw the skilled anchors were way better than the non-skilled anchors, because they were kind of able to adapt to that. Half-height cross-shot play, like anytime cross-shot play is incentivized, I think it's a good thing for the sport, because again, you see who has that phaser control and like who is a skilled player in terms of hacking skills. So yeah, that was really good. Each door, almost every one of them, I'd say the only one that doesn't is like that left door blue. Every one of them has like some structures you can like move around. You're never just like looking at a defender. The defenders have to move on the doors, so they can't just sit in a spot and dominate in the open. So yeah, quite fun on the base play all around. And the mid play, you could like quickly step to a place to interact with the other team, but you usually wouldn't just dominate them.
Playing
Yeah.
this now with the mid play like advances we've had, and like if there was no roof shots, like maybe fix a couple of the issues. Oh my god, this base
It'll be so good.
Yeah.
My only memory. Am I the only one that remembers front door of red sucking ass to defend?
I was just
And
looking at
design-
that door looks like you'd just get sniped and you couldn't stand anywhere. Like you want to have to move around as a defender, but you want to be like able to like move with some confidence. And it looks like that door's grim.
The only
Like
thing I will
this
say,
one here.
yeah, that one did.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember. I have vivid memories of just like watching people get put through the slaughterhouse. There. Like it was just like, and
That's the calling
at
door.
red you could hold high and like panel on the grate. I
Mhm.
don't remember if you guys remember Mopar doing this. It was the most AIDS thing ever. They kept it till the last day, and oh my god, it was terrible. You couldn't get them out. That have 2 in. That was my only issue. The two issues:
Interesting.
roof shots and 2 in was the worst. In
The
the
2 in
base.
wasn't a problem, bro. It was easy.
It was
man.
no, it was because
easy.
if you had Beefy holding the great thing, and then you'd have wall dot low, and this was before we had Husky in the base, so we had Pain in the base, like hard throwing. I don't know if any of you guys have watched the like replay game, like the finals, but like he's holding under like normally, and then he would look at side door with his phaser facing outwards.
And
It was
one player
actually
would
crazy.
block. One player would block the sightline onto the
Yeah.
other player, right? Yeah, which is
And then the other person would run through, and there was just a lot of that. That's the only. There was a couple goofy things about this maze.
because the greats as well weren't consistent to shoot through. Were they?
Yeah, we call it great RNG
Yeah.
at home. Yeah, the great RNG was pretty cringe sometimes. But on the topic of like the 2 holds in, I distinctly remember we versed the Maroons a lot. And I remember literally every single time they had like, let's say it was like green beefy on the half height, like high hold watching this door, and then Waldot on crouch low here watching this way. Every single time, if you knew what to do, you would like see it and you'd be like, okay. And then what I would do, and I think Robin was really good at it as well, you'd activate here and you would literally just like run in, like,
Yeah.
and like because a great combination of great RNG and the time you have to shoot them not actually being very long, it was actually really pretty consistent to get past them. And then from there, you had the option to like double back and come really low and shoot them, or you could like keep following through and try and shoot over the half height. I tended to double back because once again, like even if you came all the way to here and shot down on the person on that thing because of the great RNG,
great
just,
RNG.
like, you just like it just wouldn't happen. And you're like, ah.
Yeah.
But like if you doubled back and then you just like went really low and lunged back into the base, you could get them out. So yeah, the 2-man holds were definitely a thing, but I remember like not having an issue like dealing with them.
Did you ever verse the blue steel one in red?
Yeah, same
And
thing.
you had no issue?
Same thing.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
just better. Maybe you should have been in finals.
I wish I should have been.
Almost like the aftershock. The Adelaide teams took each other out.
We didn't.
No.
Really?
The golden.
And
So
New
we only
Zealand.
made one golden game, and it was us, Cobras, and Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Still remember how mad I was after that game. I remember how mad all of us were because we were 100% sure that we lost and we won by like 500 points.
Jesus.
When I felt like that year we were better than it. Like we were better. We just we weren't good as a team yet.
I do remember one other goofy thing we somehow haven't discussed, and that's the stupid ramp.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
You
that
won bloody
was
triples
random.
from this thing, mate, or CV in there, bro.
That was not my team.
Was that not?
No,
Who was
no,
with
no.
them?
That was like Spitty, Leper, and
I
Sivu.
was Spitty Leper.
Yeah,
I thought it
yeah,
was you, Leper.
No,
and,
I was
no.
gonna say, I don't remember you winning triples here.
No.
You were like a child here, weren't you? Not?
Yeah. I was playing with like Captain Morgan at the stage still.
Oh
like,
god.
it was like me Twiggles, Captain Morgan. But yes, that ramp, right?
Awesome.
Nobody should ever be up there, but trying to play the right, like that left side of red, when there's some idiot up there that has no right to be up there, the worst feeling, absolutely the worst, because they just keep shooting you, and I'm like, you shouldn't be getting value from there, but you are, and now that's going to encourage you to stay there, and you're a terrible player, but because you're sitting on top of a ramp, there's no counterplay. Jesus Christ, it was annoying. Like you couldn't.
It's just so goofy and random.
You should have roof shot the ramp, mate.
Yeah, that is true.
That is the trick, I guess. But,
that was the trick.
The thing is,
it
I
was
feel like...
so in the formats where it wasn't stuns, it was really easy to kill the person in the ramp. But then, yeah, when we played Elim, I remember I played with Robin and Butzer, and we played in red, and then we would like be roof shotting CV in the ramp, but it would always hit the shoulders, and so you would just stun him, and then like it was really hard to get like consecutive like 3 in a row like that. So it was really hard to deal with when we played that Elim format. Yeah, no, the ramp is goofy as hell.
I also have memories of the 2 wing reloads not feeling good. I don't know if that's just me just like nitpicking, but I remember the positioning and like they were really like bad. I don't know if that's just like obviously it would get better if we played again, but like I remember it being like average as hell. But the middle reload was good. Like the side reloads. The middle reload was good. The side reloads always felt janky and goofy. Maybe that's because that's the good thing because you had to whip around the outside, but I just remember it being weird. But most of the stuff in this maze was like, other than the goofy stuff, if we got rid of that, this maze would be like amazing. Like playing here like now would be crazy.
It feels like some minor changes, like some easy changes, but like could do a lot of work to make this like a pristine maze.
So in terms of the tier list, what are we thinking, boys? I'm biased and I'm putting it in an S tier as hell, but we'll go by like a
Let's think with the issues. I think with the issues, it brings it down.
Yeah, I'd say kind of high A tier again, open to putting it in an S.
All right.
I think I'm here for S, but talking about it more, there was just so many issues.
Yeah.
Your OCD is gonna have an aneurysm.
Oh, yeah, that's pissing me off right now. That is cringe.
It's just with those small issues. I just don't think it can be S because there were big issues. Like there were a thing.
All right.
And if we're gonna put Brisbane in A, Adelaide can't go in S. I'm sorry.
Okay,
how about if we decide later we can put them all in there?
If we don't have any S tiers, then yeah, these are both going in S tier.
Oh, we're having an S tier.
Alrighty.
It's our maze, bro.
The only S tier is going to be the one we finished making the other day. Alrighty, moving on. We have the 2018 Albury Arena. Bam.
First W in the worst maze ever.
You don't like this maze? Interesting.
Thinking about it, I've got so like rose tinted glasses about it. When I really think about it, I like. If you asked me 2 years ago, I'd been like, amazing. But looking at it and actually thinking about it actively, it was average as all hell. Like,
interesting.
Green's reflex were terrible. Red, I said this the other day, I don't remember where. Red feels like it's part of the maze and they're like baselines. This is where the maze is. And it didn't play well in my opinion. It felt janky. There was so many snipes. I loved blue though, but I do have like very fond memories of just going sicko mode in blue. So like, I think that's just my bias. But the way this maze played it was too big. It was like the mid play was sniping, and even then it was like there wasn't always a point because there would always be people at a base because there was nowhere else to be.
It's definitely like an isolated 3-2 maze in the sense that Brisbane was an isolated 3-2 maze. Like there's not much mid play.
I think this is an isolated 3-2 maze done not nearly as well as Brisbane for sure.
I think very close though, because like when you look at Green's base, it looks pretty good.
So this was the green base with the grate to shoot through it.
No. This is the green base where every single wall was reflective.
Okay, but
and it was
there was a grate as well to hit the base.
That was a
that was at pre-nuts too. That was at pre-nuts too.
I didn't go to any pre-nuts. I remember shooting through a grate to shoot a green base.
There's no surely there wasn't. Was there a grate?
I'm like 90% sure there was still a grate.
I don't think it was an issue often, but I think there was definitely a grate there, and I remember being mad about the grate being there.
Like hitting the base?
Yeah, maybe.
Not hitting the base specifically.
Why do I remember there being like a door that would open and close, but it was turned off for nationals? Is that a thing?
Probably. I mean, this maze has everything in it. Like,
And
don't
like
shut
the way that red played, it didn't feel nice. You couldn't defend yourself easily because the gap between the two walls there is so large. And then taking from L was good. I remember that, but it just
Take from the L was fun.
yeah.
Now, this was a maze where to defend a lot of the time you just have to panel fight, which is literally unheard of these days. A panel fighting door defense hasn't been done maybe since this arena, because to defend green or to defend red, you literally just have to be on the baseline paneling the people that are activating on you.
Yeah.
And I actually quite liked that on bases personally. I thought it was like, you know, like you get a good panel fighter, they're gonna do well, but they're gonna die eventually. So usually on green you have kind of like one panel fighter each door, so it's like kind of a two-man lock, but it's never really a lock because they're only panel fighting.
Interesting.
And then one of them would die, and you get the call, and someone would jump to that V, the side of it specifically to shoot across, and then they could dance back and forth, panel fighting, and then onto the V. And I found that quite fun at green base. But yeah, I remember the door play of green was pretty bad because those little tiny T's were kind of too close to the baseline to be useful, and then the sweep was so long. So that
If that sweep was shorter, it would be amazing. Like
yeah, if the sweep was shorter and the T's were maybe a bit further back, because I remember most of the duels just ended up happening in the open. Like you'd try to use these janky tiny little panel pocket things or like that panel back further, but none of them would be useful. You'd either have to just try and duel in the open or run all the way back to like
middle.
Yeah, the middle of the maze
I
to
have
try to win a duel.
memories of versing GP and just versing Milky in the middle, and as soon as I'd kill Milky, I would shoot a wall, kill someone else, and then I'd run into the base and shoot another wall and get another.
That's
It was
disgusting. That's
I just remember it being terrible. I might
Yeah.
be misremembering, but green was in
No.
theory it looks amazing and it would play amazing if there wasn't reflex and a couple of small changes, but the way that it played at Nats was not it.
That's definitely valid because I don't remember the reflex. I don't know what I was doing, but I don't remember the reflex. So to me, it played amazing.
Yeah, I don't remember the reflex
solid.
either.
Yeah,
but
the inside the
was
base
terrible.
played well. But yeah, no, with reflex, that's not good.
And do you guys remember blue? How like in the V you could sit in the V, and it was like if you were skinny enough, you could hold the V and no one could kill you, and it was AIDS as hell.
Yeah, which I don't think is a good thing for the sport to have just like only the skinniest people to be able to do it. And I remember the lunges on the doors. This was a two-man lock base where you just put one on each side, and then people would just throw themselves. People would run in like lines of 3, throwing themselves to try to get past it. Like not good gameplay.
I still remember. I think it was I don't know what their name was. It was like Mustangs or I think it was Vanquish. They would have Mike Dogger, who was skinny as hell in the V, and then they'd have someone in one of the side walls, not actually like paneling how you're explaining, like near the base, and they'd watch the opposite door as Mike Dogger, and they had this cross shot that was impossible to get through because it was just two skinny people.
That's gross.
It was terrible. It was
That's so
actually
gross.
the disgusting thing ever.
Yeah,
I do like
that there are 5 spots to play in the base. I'm not saying any of them are good to play, but I like that there are 5 different positions that you could shoot the base from. I thought that was interesting. I think teams often ended up with like needing these calls, and it was really fun because teams would be calling like V, A, B, X, and Y for like 5 different calls outs in the base, which I thought was crazy and actually kind of fun that there were all these different base shooting positions. So I think that's like a positive of that base, but the actual getting into it, not fun.
The getting into it was pretty cringe.
Imagine looking at the maze map. Imagine if where the blue walls are, instead of the baseline going all the way, it just stopped, and it was just like a more isolated base, and the baselines weren't as expanded. The base would play so much better because you could have someone just like somewhat pinning, and then the other person could just come around quickly, and it could be like more interesting. Or like having the baseline right there, you can just go straight off the baseline, and you have a better chance.
It's definitely whack baselines, hey?
Yeah, it is.
That's just like...
I don't remember it being like this.
Yeah.
The outsides of bases, except for green, they actually do look pretty good. I'd say the bottom door of red looks pretty grim. It's kind of like you've got some stuff to duel around, and then you're like funneled through this little corridor, winding back and forth, where you're just like embracing your death if the defender's looking at you. So I think a lot of people ended up just like it'd just be like clusters and clusters of people trying to activate on the baseline, which wasn't great.
No.
The top door though played really well. I think not many bases.
Top door fun.
Not many bases have a nice way to get to the outside pin. Like if you think Sunny Coast, if you think Current Aubrey, we played at Prenats, there wasn't like a nice way to get to that pin shot. Whereas this, they called it Dogleg, was actually like a place that you can activate and then go to the pin, which I found played quite well.
That's true. Yeah, because I feel like pretty often, like a lot of arenas now that I think about it, that pin spot, you had to be dead to get to it and then activate in it. You can't just like get to it active. I think that's kind of cool. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that top door red being like definitely the one. Like I didn't actually remember entering the base from this door. I was just like, I'm not even bothering. I always went from this door.
Of playing backdoor after getting 2 in the first game of finals when 1-up dumped, of me just sitting on the inside panel and doing exactly what Runt said, just sitting there and just getting easy shots on people because like there's not much they could do. The spawn, you don't spawn on the line, so you got to lunge, and then the pin spot was exposed to like people further back.
Yeah,
that door was just
that's the bottom door you're talking
terrible.
about, yeah.
Yeah, the bottom door.
Yeah.
It was just terrible. But I do remember the back door playing well. But I don't. I remember there being issues with like snipes and stuff. I don't know if that's just me remembering it weirdly, but like I remember there being like a lot of from like fan / blue area. You could get shot a lot.
It's so weird because this maze, it looks like it has these really nice structures to play around on the doors, but they're not near the doors. Like they're like, yeah, we've got these great structures, and we're gonna put them like 10 meters away from the door. Like, we need some open space there to make it sad. Like,
naturally.
It's so close to being.
Yeah,
good.
this door on this top door on blue looks sad as hell.
Yeah.
Like you've got the structures to win the duel, but then you've just got like an extra area to cover where you could just
there's so much
random
dead
snipe.
space up the top, the top right. Like it was just like they had a 3-2 maze that felt just wasn't isolated enough / like the cover and the pathing just wasn't nice. It was just a very like.
I think it's a 3-2 maze, but the bases weren't as good as Brisbane mazes, and the doors weren't as fun to play on, or as like just like balanced to play on, I guess, as Brisbane.
I think it's a very random maze because a lot of it was constructed. Throw it at the wall and see what works, kind of thing.
They changed it every pre-nats.
Yeah, not as like thought out as mazes often are these days. So as a result, I think you got a lot of really good things because they just kind of like happen to be good. Like there's probably more thought there than I'm giving them credit for, but you got a lot of randomly bad things, but a lot of really good randomly good things. I find in this arena.
Yeah. I remember the bloody rat gremlin sneak things where you'd go all the way along like this back wall, like dead, and like sneak into red. That shit was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I reckon I got so many red bases like that.
I did really enjoy the play on that L, like where you'd like be safe from one door, not the other door, and then anyone like maybe racking on the door would force you to go around. Like I enjoyed having that L facing a different way than what they always are these days. Like I think an outwards facing L was good play.
Well, I don't know. All things considered, what are we feeling for the Albury Arena? I'm personally thinking a high C or a low B. Probably C though, actually, for me.
I'm feeling like harsh, and I was gonna say D, but
yeah, and you go for it. I was gonna say B, but from what you're describing, I completely understand why you're saying D. I don't remember as many of the negatives as you guys had. Like I don't remember finding.
And I think for me as well, like finals was just like not interesting, so it was kind of like the tinted experience.
Yeah. And I'd probably say B, and I think ending up in C tier is a good place. This feels like a pretty kind of mid tier maze, right? Yeah.
It wasn't terrible, but I think just from those couple things just made it a D. But I think C. I'm happy with C.
C feels right. All right, chucking him in. Boom. What's up to 2018, 2019? Sunny Coast. Oh.
Yeah, I'm here for this. I'm keen to see what Ron says. I'm very interested right now. Are you gonna start?
I don't want to talk about it, so I'm gonna make another drink, and I'll be back in one moment. I can hear you, guys.
Oh yeah, right. This is right. It's not fun yet. Yeah, I see.
That's why he's getting a drink. He's getting some alcohol.
Okay, so first I want to say the positives I had at this maze. I thought red and everything around it was quite good. I don't love the 2-man lock, but I liked that there was a counterplay to the 2-man lock. So if you put one on each of those 2 panels in the base, each one could lock a door. They'd be getting pinned, and they'd sometimes die to the pin, but usually not, because people were getting so good at not dying to pins and holding a door, even with 2 people on it. And with H Pro, they still don't die. But I liked that there was the counterplay of put your gun on the floor and you can shoot the other one. So they'd at least have to comm to their teammate, like, watch out, they're about to try and shoot you in the back, and they'd have to like back off, and then the other door could maybe make a move. But I think that kind of play didn't work as well because the sweep was so long around the base. So often you'd shoot that player and then the other team would get in. And I was like, that's unfortunate. But when players solo held it, really fun to watch, because they'd be like working up and down on the half wall, slamming themselves into the wall and like clearing that door, and then like working a half height and like leaning over on the half height and trying to manage their gun, but they'd still often get hit on the gun. I found that really fun play. And then the doors were really good. That zigzag and the L on the bottom door, the interplay between those 3 L's, those 3 structures, like looping everyone around that was really fun to watch. The defenders were very mobile, but still quite strong there. And then the other door, you had the zigzag, which was, I think, too open to snipers. Like, the blue snipers would often just rail you anytime you went the top side. But when there weren't blue snipers there, that zigzag was quite fun to play around. And you can almost get to that pin through that way, which I liked. Onto what I didn't like, blue and green. Blue, that bottom door is good because you have that zigzag, so you can set up either side of the door and you have a structure to fight around. But often fighting on that structure, you just get shot by defenders in the maze. And this was a maze where in blue and green, by far the best way to play was to just sit 2 people in there, get a player with knee pads and put them on one knee so they don't get shot over the half height. And they just have the most miserable time just sitting in that base, watching one door being pinned and just trying not to get their gun shot. And they'd spend like 12 minutes there while the other player just like played high angle or something.
This was definitely a big knee pad arena.
Yeah, but not like skating around in the knee pads. It was like I'm sad and I need to live on them kind of deal. Like my knees are just tore through the knee pad. So yeah, this was the maze of 2-man locks, and the way to break that was a pin where you most of the time you had to die to set up the pin. If you look at the 3 other spots to pin, which is like the outside edges of the green doors and the top edge of the blue door, to pin there, you just had to be dead and just die over and over from someone sitting a panel back from you, like the defender sitting a panel back from you. And you just had to hope that your teammate would somehow kill them and not die, and then you can set up a pin, and then one of your players needs to sprint, and I mean sprint. This was the maze of death where players were going as fast as they possibly could to try to get to a shot on that defender.
I feel like this is one of the first arenas where like the speed entering bases like actually became like a really big issue, like actually becoming a part of the briefing instead of just like a general like it just being covered by the rules. It's the first time I remember it being stressed.
Now at pre-nut, so many people were getting cleaned up that they had to put clearway zones in, and which allowed players to go even faster. Whether that was a good decision or not, it did make play even faster, so the injuries were even worse, even though they occurred less frequently. But yeah, to me, it's that blue and green, that was not interesting or intelligent or smart gameplay. It was like, you stand here on this pin and you die over and over again, and that's going to allow me to just run in a straight line real fast. It's like, and
go fast.
And to actually kill the defender, they could often just sit on the other side of these places and they'd never have to move. Like if you're on, so if you look at the doors, interior doors towards the maze, there's like these big structures, but like they're quite far back from the doors, so you'd have to go all the way up to them to duel them. You'd be getting shot from the people in the base while you have to do that, and you don't even have to have anything to rotate them around, so it's just like an H Pro duel or like a panel fight where they have the advantage, where you have to go to them, and that really painful gameplay as an attacker. It was
I think
both.
An interesting point is that I think this arena would play a lot better on H2, just because the 2-man locks would be like way less prevalent.
Yeah, like they'd be less strong, but I don't think they'd be any more fun, is the thing. They wouldn't
jump in while we're talking about 2-man locks. It's interesting because the finals wasn't 2-man locks. And that was like, that made the maze play a lot better in my opinion. I think the way that it played, like you would have one person in all three of the bases. You'd have someone in the box at green. You'd have someone kind of sitting in the middle, listening to comms and going to whichever side they needed to. And red, you'd just like teams played red differently because people couldn't hold it very well. Like we had Husky in. I have vivid memories of Spartans maybe holding. They had Penguin, but I think the way that he played was more exposed, and he would tend to go to bookend and like do more weird, wacky stuff more. And I don't remember how Beavers Waldot would have maybe been the last line, but I'm not 100% sure. But the way that this maze played in finals is a lot more interesting than what you're saying. So like maybe it was like it was easier to do these things you're saying, but when people knew how to counter them, like you couldn't two-man lock at red because of beefies and because of the cross shot pin, like low shots. At green, it wasn't worth. No one had a left-hander except for us in finals, so no one could hold 7 switched to as good as Husky playing just left-handed. So we held two-handed sometimes because we obviously had Husky in there and would just have Pain in the box, just holding the box. But I don't think any of the other teams did. And with blue, I don't remember it being too much two-handed, but it's crazy because this maze has had some small tweaks, and those small tweaks have fixed most of the issues you're saying. Like the zigzag at blue is better because you can actually kill the defender on the door and pin the player, so then your other player can come through. The sweep is still AIDS as hell, but
it's long sweep.
What I was about to say, even one person in these bases was still insanely strong because of how long the sweep was and how strong your defenders are on the door. So they're just like calling clear for days because they're under no threat and they're so strong where they are. And then your anchor can stand to another 100% safe position where they're almost never dying, and the attackers can't do anything because the sweep is the longest sweep of any maze ever, I think, on almost all bases.
That's probably.
See, I like that though. I think it plays into the certain things, but I also like other things as well. I just think that having this maze every so often is okay because like I like lunging and I like fast games, but I also think that it's like it is dangerous. There's obvious.
Of course, you like lunging. Have you seen the length of your arms, bro?
Yeah.
Damn.
Like I do think there is issues with it, but I think like the way that this maze played in finals was insane. Like red was strong in its own way. It wasn't strong at holding it. You were better because you could get more denies, but the other two were really strong in just in general. But it meant breaking them were a lot harder. Where getting into red was easy, but people would get denied. It was just like the way that this maze played in finals was just like, maybe it's because it was just 3 elite, like really high close teams, and it felt amazing. But like, I also hated this maze. If you asked me in 2019, I would have told you that this is the worst maze ever. But like now thinking about it, I think it was okay. I just think I was mad because I didn't want to. I liked the solo play, and you can't solo play here. It's like you need your teammate to pin. You need to do these team things. And there's actually like other things going on that's not just me being able to run straight out of the base, kill 4, and then shoot the base. Like,
yeah, I think it's so hard to actually remember how I felt playing in the arena when all I attached to 2019
bad things
is the me breaking the triples format and then me deciding to get 3 bases in my elimination game.
Hey,
that's
like breaking the triples format was a W in my mind. Fuck vampires.
You're welcome,
that stupid shit.
It was kind of cool.
No,
I was one of the only, like, there was only that game 1 that actually played out the whole thing. So I was one of the only people that actually played it, and I think I played with Snake and 4 Eyes, and it was actually pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. The issue was, for those in the chat that don't know, maybe this is pre-you or you weren't there or whatever, the format was basically triples. And you would have, obviously, you got 3 players on your team, but 1 person would be a vampire. The vampires weren't allowed to enter the baselines, and I think they didn't get points for tagging people, right? And then you had 2 humans that had, like, I can't remember, we'll say 10 lives, X amount of lives. The humans were the only ones that could go in and destroy the bases and get points. And then once a human ran out of their lives, they became a vampire, and so they could no longer enter the baselines. Or it was either that, or like they could enter the baselines, but they couldn't shoot them. I can't quite remember. It was cooked. It was cooked as hell. But I was here for it.
This sounds terrible. It's worse than I remember.
It was wild. But anyway, so I played this first game, and this was at a time where like they didn't announce what the triples format was until the opening ceremony, and in the spirit of like not wanting people to know what the format was early, they didn't really test it from memory. And so basically the first game I played was like the test game. And yeah, so it was only supposed to be, there was no reloads, but it was only supposed to be the normal bases we're on. And then like I've gotten all my bases and my team's just like field pointing, and I've gone into like this reload area and I see like, oh, the base is on, and I destroy it, and I'm like, cool. It didn't really make a noise from memory. I remember it feeling like weird when I destroyed it, and I was like, oh, I wonder if the other reloads are on. And then I went to the other ones and I was like, oh, no. I was like, oh, cool. And then I said to my teammates, I had one, I think our both of our humans stayed humans for the whole game, and I was like, oh, I think it was 4 hours. Like 4 hours that you can destroy the reloads. And he was like, oh, cool. And then he went to, but like they didn't come up back on after I destroyed them. And he was like, the reloads aren't on, bro. I was like, no, I destroyed them. And then we come out, and then yeah, I destroyed the entire format. They tried to fix it. They put in like a second test game, and that got aborted halfway through because it just like it was broken, it was cooked, and we ended up just playing like the doubles format but with 3 people.
Which worked very well in this maze. I think it worked better than doubles, in my opinion.
I disagree for the pure fact
though.
that in that one game I played of the vampire format, Snake 4 hours and I stomped. We had a really good game, and then when we played the doubles thing, we like bombed out in like round 2 or something. So I'm biased, but
yeah, I would agree it played better than doubles, but like my team made finals of that, and it still wasn't like fun or anything. Like it was like not that amusing to just play like doubles with 3 people, because you just end up with like 3-man locks at bases, which was even worse.
I think the issues that you have are like all issues in my mind too. I just think it was different, and it was, I don't know. I think it was like not having this every year, but having this every so often. The team play was so good, and I will say, we haven't said it once, the mid play in this maze was amazing, and I loved the mid play in this maze.
Yeah,
like, it was actually very good, and
because yeah,
this was the first year that mids stepped up, because before this it was like, all right, we're defending with 2, and someone's just attacking now, because like there wasn't anywhere to shoot people. Like you had to be at the base. When this maze was the first point where like started the first 2 minutes of the game was just like pack.
I remember it being locked down as hell in finals, and just pack pointing. Which, yeah, I think as soon as I got to Ascensions, this was a maze where I think the mid play was good. Like I do genuinely like it. It felt like a maze where it was a 3-2, but a 3-2 with a float. Like that used to be the meta. Like I don't think people even get taught this these days. But there were two like proper defenders, 1 anchor, 1 proper defenders, and then a defender that can float up to help the attack sometimes, and float more to get field points. This is the maze where that was like a major thing. But yeah, mid play was good, but overall, as soon as I got to finals, it was just like lockdown, like maybe 1 base a game, and there's not a meta I want to repeat.
That's boring as hell.
That's fair. I'll let you guys decide where this maze should be then.
No, you should still have a say. Kind of like
I don't. I think I'm happy to let you guys cook, because I think
I'm putting it in F tier, bro, just on my own experience.
Maybe not.
So you need to chime in, Wax. You need to offset me.
I would say B.
Yeah, I'd say D tier. I think it was not a good meta, not good gameplay, but there were definitely some good things about it. Like the mid play was good, and a lot of the doors were good, and I think red played quite well, which I think I have an unpopular opinion in.
I think it suits your playstyle though, so I think that's like a big thing.
So did Twinkles' playstyle. He loved it.
What are you actually putting in an F, Ryan?
I'll put it in. I definitely liked it less than Aubrey, and we put Aubrey in C, so I'm putting it in D. And I'll just quickly, for our viewers that maybe don't know the story, I forgot to tell this one as well. So I was playing with Aftershock 2019, but that was like a lot of, it was Mikey on his second year, Thick, No Idea on their second year, Storm Boy, now Marmaduke, Wardy, and myself. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. Anyway, so I was captaining that team, and that whole tournament, I had an issue of like doing the Lake-EO of like forgetting to get bases. Just like too focused on like getting the teammates bases. And like every team chat, I'd be like, oh, like I know I should remember, but I need you guys to just like prompt me in the game. Just be like, Ryan, do you have both bases? Or do you have your bases? And then I'll be like, no. But they never did it. They always forgot. And then I always forgot my bases. I was like, this is the worst. And then came our, it was like a knockout game on the last day. It was a pretty chaotic game. I got both bases. But then I like my trigger stopped shooting. And so I was like, okay, I have to pack swap. Pack swapped. I came out, put my vest on. And then I think it was Thick, like Tyrone. He was like, oh, Ryan, did you get green? And I was like, no. And so I've got my pack swapped and I've got into green. And I've got, oh, thank God he reminded me. And then, yeah, destroyed that base. And it was, finished the game. I was like, okay, like we might have won that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we got second. Anyway, I realized like as we were walking down the stairs, I get like 2 steps down and I remember just stopping and just like hand to my head. And then like my teammates are walking past me, they're like, what's wrong? And I just go, I fucked up. And then I just remember sitting on the stairs, hand in hand. So, that was so painful.
That was like, I do remember that.
That was like, I like started like, I wasn't like crying, but like I couldn't stop tears just flowing out of my bloody eyeballs. And I remember just like walking out like the briefing room, everyone looking at me like, oh shit, because they've all seen on the scoreboard that I got 3 bases. And I'm just like, no. That was almost, if not on par with coming 4th 2 years in a row. The feeling.
You've reminded me of something in Brisbane.
Okay.
We did something similar, but we didn't start the game. So we were, I think it was us, Maroons, and Deadshot, which was Dover's team, if anyone remembers Dover.
Holy shit.
We were convinced we were blue. They were convinced they were blue. No one checked. No, they were convinced they were green. We were both wrong. So we both grabbed the wrong colors, and Maroons got a free win because we both got 0 pack. We got 0 score.
Did you guys beat them in that game?
I don't remember.
Been 0?
Like I remember being mad as hell, so maybe, but I doubt it. They were definitely way better than us back then.
Yeah,
but that was just a good meme that I remembered.
That's awesome. Anyway, I just figured I'd put that in there because people to this day still reference the Holmes 3 bases thing. So if you didn't know, now you do. Anyway, D tier.
That's fine. I'm fine with this. I'll allow it.
And I hate to be the one that crushes the fun, but we've only got 50 minutes for like 4 mazes, so we gotta
we gotta hustle.
You have to dip.
I'm gonna have to dip at 8. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's put a price on. 2019, 2020 is Darwin. Okay. What did we like about the Darwin Arena?
Maybe 1 door.
Ooh. Well, you're not
really?
Not like Darwin.
We're a Darwin enjoyer.
No, are you guys?
It was the first time I got top 5 outside of a home nuts, so I'm maybe a little bit
enjoyed
biased.
It. Playing against GP is like one of the most fun things ever.
Yeah, like they were good teams. This is like one of the like highest strength like laser tag, like some of the best quality players going around, best quality teams going around. Like this was high quality laser tag, but I think that carried a very not good maze with a not good meta, with doors where there's no real interesting gameplay on them. Like every single door you look at, just like you put a door defender in a very obvious spot, and the only way to get them is to walk up to them, or like maybe you get a panel, but they can just take you off that panel because you're always having to approach them when dead, and there's only one route of entry, so you just have to walk into them and die. Similar with like the defenders, they're in such a strong position. You have 2-man locks, even if you don't have 2-man locks, like long sweeps, and you
The
just
2-man
had to.
locks were pretty crazy in this
Yeah.
arena. Also,
It was-
it's worth pointing out that the box here, this must have been pre-nuts 3. This box wall got moved to here instead.
Which meant that they could sit in the box and 100% lock down that back wall. There was that top right door. There was no way of ever getting in that right door while someone was in box. And if they got a call for the left door, they could easily rotate around and.
It
and
was
you
the
weren't getting that
reflect in
door.
the box, which did make it
Oh.
slightly better, but I don't remember
Why
it
do I
being
not know
consistent.
about these.
I think you're just bad, bro. You just
yeah, I
watched
guess.
back then.
But yeah, no, like again, this horrible lunging and just absolutely throwing yourself, like that
Yeah,
does suit my gameplay. Like I can do this. I went very quick through these doors, very Superman-y through these doors, and I was quite decent at it. But I don't think it was fun gameplay. I felt like I was just slamming my head against a wall all game.
Yeah.
It was like the arena of like 4 1s and like 5-man Ds, and like why would we ever try and get bases? You just have to sacrifice too many deaths to ever hope to get one.
Mhm.
But yeah, like the door I was referencing earlier is like that bottom door of blue. It has an L on it. That's something. That's at least something.
Oh yeah, I remember this bottom door of blue being the most fun to play as a door defender for
Move,
sure.
bitch, get out the way.
Oh,
You wanna
true.
remember blue?
That was
From
on this
Crouchy?
red door, wasn't it?
No, it was blue. It was blue.
Was
When
it?
Grub killed Crouchy, yeah. It was such a good angle.
I thought it was no. I thought it was grub on potato on this door red.
No, there's one where I'm shooting the base and 3 people come in at the same time and they all trip over each other and Method just eats shit. It's like too good.
I thought you were talking about the one where grub cleans up potato on this door here.
I don't remember that, but I remember him cleaning Crouchy up because that was what the meme was
Okay.
about.
Right. Yeah. I think I think I'm a little bit biased because this was the first time I made top 5 outside of a home nuts, and it was also the first year that we played with Beefy. So I know that for me and the rest of Aftershock this year, we learnt like I had the biggest leap in my game from the start of this tournament to the end of the tournament. There's so many like really valuable things I learned. And I would credit a lot of that to Beefy and like the experience he brought from the runes. Lessons like you as an individual don't always have to be getting crazy pack if you're enabling a teammate to get crazy pack, and if you are also canceling 1 or 2 people's pack points out. Like when you think about pack points, it's not just about how many people am I tagging. You can think about it as how many people are looking at me right now. Oh, there's 2 there. There's 2 people not getting points versus 1 person not getting points. My team is winning this exchange between them. Lessons like that.
A lot of people not getting points.
Yeah. Well, unless you were in Lighthouse. So basically, literally, Aftershock's entire strategy for Darwin was Dossie this was Dossie's first year, and he like did very, very, very well in like all of the last line positions. So Dossie would last line for us. He was like unkillable. And then we would have like Beefy and I on like the doors. Mikey was captaining. And then we would just have Chutch in the lighthouse in the middle here. And the entire strategy was just like enable Chutch to get all of the field points for the team. And it was, it got us 5th. And I think that was actually the closest we've ever gotten to making finals, funnily enough. I think we were only 800 points off of making finals this year, which was wild. So yeah, I think even though the meta was boring, this arena has I have a soft spot for this arena because of how many things I learnt about this game that I was forced to learn about in this arena. I
think I just realized how much more I like dueling than like anything else, and that's maybe why I like this maze so much. It's just like every door is a dueling door, every door is a diving door. It's just like you outskill the person next to you, just no wall, and then you go.
Outskill.
Wow.
Practice timing 3 times a week on a
yeah. Fair enough. I get
Build
what you're
in
saying.
terrible timing so deep ingrained to your brain that they can't do a thing.
That is fair. I understand why like you think of it this way, but I just like this maze was amazing for me and for like Wolfpack and how we played, and like the pack points, the way that they're pushing and pulling, the size of the maze with what they did with it worked really well. The sniping wasn't that bad except for on front door of red, but it was okay because the base was so strong. The box was wacky
Cursed.
as shit, but it was okay because the reflect. Green was a little cursed with how it played because it kind of was just like you'd kind of just hide and pray sometimes, and it was just a bit scuffed. I loved green ramp so
The
much.
ramp was so fun.
Taking from green ramp was so much fun, especially when someone was in V and you're shooting while they're still alive.
It would not fly on H2 for
It
sure.
was so good. I loved how
No,
Blue
you could
played with
definitely
like
do
the
that,
low
actually.
switching and like just. I think I understand why you have issues with it, Runt, but I also think like the issues are pluses in my eyes.
I think the arena they have to be commended on what they were able to do with the size of the
I would
arena.
100% agree with that. Like this maze felt way bigger than the space. Like the amount they forced you to move, like forced you through different routes with such a limited space, very very impressive. But yeah,
All right, let's put it in a tier because we don't have much time. Where are
Yep.
we putting it?
F tier.
I would put it in C and or B, but I am biased as hell.
I think this is above. For me, this is above Aubrey.
I enjoyed this more than
100%.
Aubrey.
Surely you enjoyed this more than Aubrey Run, or was
God,
it that
no.
bad for you?
No. I would take Sunny Coast every day over this arena.
Oh my god.
Where'd you put it? Where'd you put it, Run?
F tier, easiest F tier of my life.
All right.
And like
You're
you guys
vetoed,
overrule
you're
that, that's
vetoed.
fine. But like,
All right, where are we putting it?
I
Ryan?
cannot bring
I want to
myself
put it
to
above
any higher.
Aubrey.
I would
At
put
least-
it in C above Aubrey.
Surely B.
I
We
want to
go
put
back
it
a
in
maze
B,
where, like
but
20,000
Run
points
did
is
put it
common,
in an
I'm gonna
F. All right, just put it in C because Run put it in F. I think that's fair.
yeah, I think that was my thought process for that one. All right, moving on. What's after 2020? The Rumble. COVID.
And- Yeah, we can breeze through this one quickly because it's almost Brisbane but worse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It
would
was
agree.
the same. Maybe it was definitely worse play on the doors.
Yeah.
Red, this
that
is the
top door
better
of blue,
red.
they cooked that top door of blue with that little like nook you can
Yeah,
hide
you
in,
could
which
hide
is
a lot more, which was a lot.
like I
very
remember
AIDS.
Stonefish was an absolute god on that door.
What?
I'm just saying he was one of the best players in the arena when you put him on that door. Like that's all I'm saying.
Wow, method. Yeah, I think like
Oh, Stonefish, not
blue
I was just
was
methods
worse.
in the chat. That's what it is.
Green was 100% worse. That base was
Ha!
terrible.
So awful.
Every
Green
wall,
was so
there were,
awful.
like now we've realized how bad it is, but back then the reflex were bad. But now we know that every single wall there is reflectable, and it is terrible, and it is a disaster, and it was just. That, see where the yellow little thing is, where the ref would be? You
Yeah.
could shoot that door, and it would kill the person under.
yeah.
The base was
Green,
terrible.
like practically an unplayable base. Like
Yeah.
probably the
wouldn't have
worst
someone in.
base of every single base on this on this
Yeah,
series.
I think it's definitely the worst base I've ever played.
Like, but red one of the best. So weird
Red
arena
is, red is S. Red,
and blue, but
red has
the
not changed.
unplayableness of green really brings it down.
This red still one of the best bases ever, except for the long shots on front door. If the way it was just like a ramp to like where the blue ramp is instead of the big fat ramp. The red base would play amazing. It's just because those long shots suck ass.
Now, for anyone that didn't play this arena, you could like walk to the top right of the corner of this maze, and you could shoot all the way down to the bottom door of green base. Like there isn't a shot that goes the
Yeah.
entire distance of the maze, and you got a lot of kills from it.
Yeah.
It was gross.
No good at all.
Because yeah, like you would want to like set up like your pin kind of thing from here or something. You know what? Like that's where you'd want to like run in from. Yeah, it was gross.
to get the stupid reflect off the wall exactly.
And because we had so much time between Brisbane Nats and Rumble, people had realized how to actually play red. So you wouldn't stay at home when no one was there. You would literally just pretty much dump from your base, and you would control the middle of the base. And you just get so much free pack, so much free control. So red was like the best base because you'd just like be looking down on everyone like they're peasants and just like absolutely dominate.
Yeah.
Yeah. The the left door of red was also bad. The little
The
mirrors
left
and
door did not feel
The
good.
mirrors,
no.
the mirrors are AIDS,
the
and that
mirrors and
grill.
windows, and none of it's actually anything you can actually play on. It was just
Yeah,
gross.
that grill's still there, and I still freaking hate it.
Yeah.
And the mirrors.
And then
there.
also like trying to activate like safely on this ramp, you could just get reflected off of like
yeah,
the
there
wall
was
there
the
as
wall
well.
shot
That
as
was
well. There was
cringe.
so much like the maze. Red and blue are still amazing bases. Just the outside of blue got worse. The outside of red got better, but green is so bad that it's
Yeah.
just like
I'd say maybe D tier.
I think I enjoyed it less than Albury and Darwin for sure.
I enjoyed it more than Aubrey, but if you guys both for D, that's fine.
Like I can live with C. C's fine to me.
I want it above Aubrey. That's how much I didn't like. I'm not a fan of Aubrey. But you guys,
I
if you guys
think-
both think that it's
Yeah, like I definitely liked it more than Darwin, so I'm happy with it in C. I don't know. If none of us really like it, D tier feels fitting. Maybe.
yeah, just put it D. That's fine.
I think what was interesting about this is when we played in 2016, we were talking about how like it was a really good 3-2 arena, and then after that we played a bunch of arenas where like the field pointing and the floating and stuff were
Yeah,
like
that
really
is true.
important. And then when we went back to this arena, like trying to do like the same field pointy floating stuff was just like whack. Like I remember being red. Like let's say you were like on this top door here, and you know your attack is at green, and so you just like I remember just like sprinting down this ramp, going all the way down to shoot like one person,
Full
and then like
speed
going
as
all the
well.
way. Yeah, going all the way back up. Or the same thing, like just on the same door, and you know where your attack's at blue, and you want to help, and so you run down 2 bloody ramps, shoot to 1 or 2 people, and you like run all the way back up. It was a bit cooked.
Very
I
cooked.
think like trying to play it like we'd played the last few arenas, I guess, was whack. But I think I don't know. I think I enjoyed.
Having Sunny Coast and Briz and Rumble in D is wild.
Get it out of here, bro. Put it in the bin. I think. Are we thinking D or C for?
I want it above Aubrey, but you guys decide.
Look, we can just bump Aubrey down to D. I'm happy with that.
I'm fine with that. Let's do
Alright.
that. Put it beneath.
Let's do that.
Sunny Coast.
That makes me
Oh
feel
my
better.
god, what am I looking at?
What is going on with this formatting, bro?
Now,
Alright, next
good.
one. It's alright.
I'm just leaving it on the screen for a sec. Method wanted a recap. There we go. So we put 2016 and 2017 in A. We put Darwin and the Rumble in C, and then we put Sunny Coast 2019 and 2018 in D. All right, but Runt's gonna go. Are you commentating on the Sweenat stream? Is that what you're doing?
at 8 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. We'll get a breeze through.
Transition
So
straight into that. That's W.
It's gonna be fun.
men's on the grind. Bendigo is what I'm looking for, isn't it? Boom. First ZLTAC after COVID. We're here. And then, yeah. So I think, yeah, for those that didn't know, 2015, like Bendigo is a 2-story arena. And in 2015, we played with the upstairs. But then in 2022, when we played it again, they made it you could only go like up to like this part of the ramp at Nationals. So it did play a little bit different. But the
Alright, I'm
bases
just gonna
themselves were the same.
I'm just gonna
Like-
spit for a second. One reload is terrible, especially
That's
with how small it was
awful.
and how claustrophobic it was. The door play on the back door on all the bases I enjoyed because of the dueling, but I also know Run's going to say the other thing, which I agree with as well. I just enjoy dueling, so I think it worked well. The mid play here from green and blue was okay. Red was more isolated, and you have to have a kind of like a pushing like line, so it was kind of more scuffed. Roof shots from red to green were a bit AIDS, like they were a bit annoying, but it wasn't
true.
the end of the world.
I remember they weren't really like utilized heavily until the last day, which that is the worst day to use them. But at least it wasn't all comp like it was in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adelaide was the opposite. It was like all comp until the last day.
Yeah,
It was the first maze in forever that you had no one in the base, which was very interesting and different. And
We did.
I did actually enjoy it. Okay, stop being weird, okay? I genuinely think it was good for you guys, and I do think it at times it was good to have someone in, but just not all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the way that this maze played was pretty good. It was okay. Red was more isolated, which made it better in a way because it was left alone. But then on it started to get worse when people realized how much more pack you could get from the other bases and still
Yeah.
defend your base well. Like green ended up being it moved to green, where blue was the base that you'd get denied a lot. Like I think the way that this
Yeah.
maze played with the running around, and I think that's something I thought you would be really fond of, Runt, is like the running around and tagging a bunch of people and like outmaneuvering people. Is that something that you enjoyed,
Yeah,
or
yeah, I think for sure. There's a lot of options and dynamics that you can play on the doors. So like you had this underneath the ramp areas, the caves, which they were strong spots, but you could actually like get behind them and get
Yeah.
behind it. There were these long corridors, but you could use the angles of the side walls of the base. So you'd have these long corridors, but then you'd have these and this, which you can kind of like panel on the side there to like get a nice little angle if you hop to it at the last second. The forest was always a nice, interesting spot where everyone was always moving around. So I liked a lot of the door play. I thought, to me, it's a bit boring because they're all the same, but I think the doors generally played well. I think you had spots that like these brawlers were really good. You had these spots that you could play in the open, and you had you could go fast and outmaneuver people. So I thought that was good. I think the bases are too far in the weak direction. I think bases should be better off having someone in them than not. And I think the shoot through was too dominant because instead of like clearing a door and being able to enter, it's like, well, I got to clear literally every defender before I can even enter the base.
Yeah, like
which,
people sitting on the end of that L and shooting you all the way through.
Yeah.
Or if you decided to go through the back door and like if you decided to go through the front door instead, deal with the L, the back door person just shooting all the way through was a bit annoying.
the between the red and green, I remember a sniper could shut down entire doors by being there from so far away.
Yeah.
Like the meta of defending that back door was like, I'm gonna stand all the way in the middle of the maze. And then
I
you
also
have to come
really
so far.
hated having to shoot the base and defend yourself in these bases. It felt really scuffed.
It felt really
It was
gross.
hard to hit. It was hard to defend yourself. So,
It was
but it wasn't
very
like a nice hard. It was like a
goofy hard.
janky, like kind of just sit in the corner. Just
I think
didn't feel very clean.
I think part of what made it feel like crap from attacking perspective was the bases themselves just like were genuinely like hard to hit, and so you had to devote like a decent amount of your brain power just to like getting the right angle and aiming and getting your phaser low enough, and then that's taking away from your ability to like react to people coming in quickly and like make good decisions and stuff. So I think I was talking to Wax about this on the last stream, but I feel like bases where you have to devote a significant amount of brain power to actually just hitting the base unit while you're taking is cringe, because it takes away from like your ability to make cool decisions and stuff, and you like make less exciting plays and things. I think what was also cringe was the back pocket of like, I'm thinking, blue and green was probably like the best place to take it from, but to get to there you had to cross like the sight line of not only the L, but someone in like this like under the ramp spot as well, and they could tag you on the way in. So it was like, I think it was
I think that shot was like fine at blue because they could be sniped by a red player if they stepped out to take that shoot through, but at every other base it was insane just dying from that player. Even at blue it was bad because it's like, why is he allowed to do that with the red player not shooting him? Like, what is happening?
I think the one reload is also a really big point. Like there was a lot of collisions in that reload. Like really, like there was some really bad ones as well. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is where Potato tore his like quad muscle or something.
Yeah, he
slipped
in the reload. The ground was no. He slipped at green. I remember.
He slipped on.
The ground was terrible. I'm here to put this maze like the year. I actually enjoyed it. It wasn't a bad maze, but now actually thinking about it properly in like a bigger picture thing, I don't think it was very good.
Yeah.
I think
I would say the mid play did feel really good. Like pack point in this maze was really fun. There was always like interesting duels in different places and all that, and like fun routes that you could take. But yeah, overall,
I think
above Sunny Coast. Are you keen to put it above Sunny Coast?
I enjoyed it more.
I'd probably put it like low B personally.
I'm fine with that. That's what I was gonna say.
I think another thing. There was lots of really cool things you could do from an attacking perspective in this arena, which I will I don't know if anyone else did this, but we Aftershock kind of identified there were setups that we ended up we called them layups,
I
which is
remember this.
where you would have one person wouldn't even have to win a duel; they would just have to position in a spot, and it would mean that your second person only had to win one H Pro duel, and then you got a free base. So an example of that would be I think it started happening less because people kind of caught on, but a really common setup was like one person on the L, one person in George, and then one person on the back door. And what we figured out is you can set up what we ended up calling like layups, where you can have someone activate in this area here for free because they're not being contested. They can watch this sight line here, right? They've got the L person and the George person can't move without dying, and it meant that your second attacker only had to win one duel on the back door, and then they could go in and get a free base. I thought that was a really interesting mechanic, and I really enjoyed like trying to figure out like what the best positioning of your defenders outside of the base was, because like for most of the comp we played like no one in the base. We only started doing it towards the back half of the competition. But yeah, I thought it was different. It was really interesting. And yeah, being able to set up some like high level, like thinking about the game, stuff like that was I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I think in comparison to Sunny Coast, attacking in this maze felt like a puzzle. Like you need to go here to put the defenders here to do this, and it felt like you had to make a lot of very intelligent decisions to attack well here.
I really enjoyed that. And then also, yeah, so the way we ended up making, so we were one of the few teams that did play with the last line or anchor in the base, was we had them in the front pocket, and we'll say blue for instance, and we'd have like say Beefy on the back door and then like Chutch on the L. And then the last line, like watching back from here, from the front pocket, was like, it was good. The issue was you were super exposed to front. And then vice versa, if you were on this panel here watching front, if you were good paneling and disciplined with your... On H2, it would be a different story, but on H Pro, like, being good about keeping your sensor behind the wall. You could watch either way, like, really effectively. The issue was watching one way made you super exposed to the other. And so we were using what we would say, like, tuck. And so let's say we had Dossie last lining. Say we had Dossie in the back door watching the back... in the front pocket watching back door, and we saw someone started loading on the front door, we would say like tuck, and then he would know, okay, I have to like step back a bit, still watching the back door, but I'm kind of like watching it off the panel so I don't get like insta shot from front. And then once that duel had been won, you'd say clear, and then they can go back to watching. And I think that was how we made the last line in that front pocket work, and it was genuinely like pretty interesting and pretty fun.
Yeah,
I still prefer how normal bases play though, for sure.
Yeah, I think if there was enough incentive for every team to do that, that's kind of like the ideal base where it's like you can play either door somewhat safely, not both doors. You need to rely on your teammates' calls, and you need to be good in that base. And I found it was very fun to verse you guys with that setup. But yeah, most of the time.
Sorry, you go, Ron.
Yeah, most of the time it wasn't worth doing, or it wasn't. It was too janky or whatever.
I think it made the mid play scuffed if you had to, because you kind of had to have three there to like hold it well. Because if you didn't, it would mean that like your person under would be very exposed a lot. I think that's why it was average as hell.
Yeah.
I'm here for low B. I enjoyed this maze. I think it played well. There was some issues.
Let me get that.
But I think the mid play and the way that certain things worked actually made it interesting.
I personally actually enjoyed playing Darwin more, but I would be happy with a B tier as well.
Darwin's only there because Runt's a hater. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What do you reckon, Runt? For Bendigo?
Like I think low B. Like yeah.
We'll chuck him in.
What's your personal rank, Ryan? Ignore Darwin and what's
I feel like a high C or low B is definitely where I would put it. But I'm just saying I enjoyed Darwin more. But yeah, I think I'm happy with B. I'm fine with this. Wax, you happy with that?
I'm happy with B.
All right. So what do we got? We got Hobart. Crazy.
You've got like 4 mazes there.
Yeah, there's some extra ones.
Oh, one's code red. Just straight in F and we can ignore it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, F tier for code red. Cool.
Your current Adelaide, I feel like.
Yeah, F tier.
We'll talk about that in a sec.
Yeah,
It's not F tier, bro. It's not F tier. It's not F tier. I promise.
We like shoeboxes. It's fun.
Let me talk. If we have time, let me cook
Yeah,
on that one.
yeah.
All right. I actually don't mind it. Hobart though. I really liked Hobart. I think Hobart.
Right,
was
let's
really
just
good.
let's just put it in S and we can talk about it.
Okay.
How do we feel about that?
I'm happy. I was gonna put it in S, but I was biased as hell. I like it. That's where your thoughts go.
I think
happy
Hobart
with
is
that.
probably my favorite maze of all time.
Yeah,
There was
I
definitely
think.
some issues, but I think the way that this maze played was amazing.
Can I just apologize for Blue Vase publicly? That was terrible. Now I want to say, a week out from the competition, you could shoot it from anywhere. Like you put a shot in its general direction and it was hit, and then we literally like put like 2 extra screws in just to make it more secure. We didn't even move it. We just put more screws in, and all of a sudden it sucks to shoot. And I'm so mad about it, and I hate that I did it. And we only and we only realized it sucked to shoot as like in the first game of allocated training. We're like, this is not how it was. Like I swear it was good.
Oh, no.
You guys won't trust me, but you could like pop a shot over your shoulder without looking at it anywhere, and it would hit. But then
That
like,
is wild.
I like shot it and allocated, and I'm like, something is wrong. This is not what I. No, this should not be different. So that was bad.
Bloody you mother flipper. The whole tournament, you're like, guys, blue is easy to hit.
You guys
Doesn't
just
know
suck.
how to hit it.
You
guys
guys
just
suck.
That wasn't me saying that.
You said it.
I
100%.
remember you saying it.
A
I
little
remember
bit. Like yeah, it was still easy enough. Like it was still more reliable than Bendigo, but it was worse than it was.
I don't think it was more reliable. You're on crack. You are on crack.
Like I still obviously didn't struggle because I'm home side and I like
Yeah.
I understand like the angles of it or whatever, but no, it was worse than it was meant to be. Like the theory of where it was, it in theory worked, and it worked a week out from the comp, but come nationals, it was bad, and I apologize. And I agree that you shouldn't have to think about where you're placing your shots. And it was
I remember.
bad for that.
I think literally every time my team Aftershock watched like a Vikings game and we saw one of you guys clearly missing shots on the base and get denied, we just cheered. We were like, yes.
Yeah. No,
Yes. So
I don't
good.
even know if my players know that it was different. I thought it was the same because they would just shut up about it. But I still found it easy to hit, but like not as easy to hit, and it was bad. And that's
You shouldn't have to
definitely a
think
detractor
about
of
it.
this maze. It was bad, but I hope that doesn't ruin how the base played.
I think us, Wax and I, still being happy to put it in S tier speaks to how good I think the rest of the arena was. I think especially with if it was the same arena, we had like Prenuts 1, for instance, I would put it like low B.
Prenuts one was bad.
Maybe a high C because the long shots were like ridiculous. But I think the little changes you guys made, each of the bases, I enjoy. Like they played different, but they they all felt good in their own way. Had their own quirks. I like that. The like mid in this arena was like very, very unique. We were talking about it in that I think the first of those 2 arena design streams we did, like the elevator being in the middle meant that there wasn't just like a mid, there was like a red to blue mid, there was a blue to green mid, and then a green to red mid. And the way that like the lanes kind of played out was really, really interesting. And there was like ways you could kind of not abuse it, that's not the right word, but you can kind of like game the lanes and like people not being able to identify what you were doing straight away. There was lots of things you could do with that, and it was really fun. It was really interesting.
There was literally never a point, except for a blue, where I was like mad. I was like, even playing after the full 2 weeks of Nats, before we left, I think we played some fun games or something. Was that at pre-Nats or was that at Nats? I'm trying to remember, but whenever it
that was
was
after pre-nuts, yeah.
that pre-Nats, that was like so, like I was just in love. Like I was like, this is amazing. Everything is good. The reloads, 2 reloads worked well with the way it was. Green base is arguably the best base ever. in my opinion. Ryan's gonna disagree because I hate cross shots.
I hate cross shots.
But I think green base is amazing. The way that red base ended up playing was actually really interesting, and I thought red was good. I just wish red was a little bit closer to blue, maybe, so that the lane was a little bit nicer from red to blue. I think that was the red to blue lane, and shooting blue was the only two issues that I found. But everything else in this maze felt amazing. Like the way that you played green, the way that blue ended up playing. I liked how having someone under watching front door and just having a dominant pack person on back door, it made this like very interesting thing where you could push more, but like you didn't always want to because red would be sitting there. Like it's just like, and having all the bases felt different, but they all in nationals were like, it felt even. Like I don't even remember the stats for Nats, but like it was a playstyle thing. If you liked playing this way, you would want to pick this base. If you liked playing that way, you'd pick that base. Like it was just so even and so good.
I think blue base in Hobart was the only base in nationals ever where every team played it completely differently, and they all found their own way to play it. And I think that blue has such a complex dynamic with it that's why it's my favorite base, is because every team can play it differently. Each person can play a different spot. I remember the way that Aftershock played it. They just put all their weight on the top of it, and like they'd almost defend the other door with the shoot through from that left door. So if you came in the bottom door, you'd get shot from the left door. Nobody even in the base. Then you have like teams like Outlaws playing like one in the sandwich. Then you have like most of the Hobart teams, we played one in shooters, and as soon as they got a left door clear call, they'd step to the middle and they'd try and pop shots over that half wall. But if a player was too fast before a call, they'd get shot, or you'd end up running around the triangle. Like someone would run over the half wall to shoot out of shooters, and you'd run around the side of the triangle to counter that because you know where they're going. So many fun dynamics. Like shooting from the pillar was fun. Nobody else did that, but that was good.
Yeah, you cooking there, bro. I remember seeing the clip of like watching. It was in finals, wasn't it? And you're just like your gun is like on the floor, and we were like, bro, what the hell is that?
I don't know why, but I remember trying to shoot you and someone blocking me or something, and I just remember yelling at someone, like abusing the crap out of someone.
I was about to turn, and then I saw like two people in the way behind me. I'm like, I'm good to finish.
The mid play, everything in this maze, the way that the pack points started at first, the pushing and pulling from red, the pushing from green, just with 5 players, I loved this maze so much.
Dumping was viable.
No, shut up.
Dumping was viable but not oppressive. Dumping was viable but not good. Like it was a thing that you could do. It was never the main strategy like it was in 2015. It was something that teams could do if they knew how to do it, but if teams knew how to counter it, it'd get absolutely shut down and obliterated.
I'm glad it got absolutely shut down and obliterated in finals. If it didn't, I think I would have had a stroke. Like I would have lost my shit.
Yeah, what we were expecting to happen was at pre-nats, everyone would think, "Oh my god, dumping's amazing," and like in early nats, everyone would be like, "Oh my god, dumping's amazing," and then every team would learn how to shut it down, and it did get shut down. Now, what happened is nobody tried dumping until the absolute end of the competition, so they did it when only Hobart knew how to shut it down, and then Spartans got away with some some place higher than where they were performing because they did it at the end when nobody was ready for it.
Yes, I have
Ryan's gonna start crying.
Pains when I think about that. Yeah, it was like the Catalyst Spartans us game, and they dumped, and they did like kind of dumped in between and were going between. I was like, oh, that was a painful game. And then like the Storm dumping in that last Golden game as well.
Yeah,
gives me
nightmares. I think one of the best things for me about this maze is it made captaining so interesting. Because you could lose your player very easily because the elevator in the way. So that captains who are very controlling and very needs to know all, it was harder for them to attack with their attacker. But you and Twinkles had more fun because it was more free. It wasn't as isolated. You don't have to know exactly where each other are all the time. You just kind of play your game and you play off each other, and it works really well in this maze. And I really enjoy that play style.
Yeah, I think what was interesting is I feel on that last on the last day, like in Ascensions, where they're inherently everyone's going to be a little bit more conservative, and they're going to be more careful about like when they're pushing and stuff. I think blue base was the best base to play on that last day. If you didn't have a good defense in blue, then wouldn't have mattered. But if you had a good defense in blue, I think the easiest bases to get in this whole arena was if you were blue, getting green bases. And I think that's something that, Sean and I, or Fuggin and I, have spoken about heaps afterwards. It was like, oh, we should have chosen blue for our like golden game 3, and we would have made 100%. But we chose green. I remember the discussion. It was like, we felt good about blue. It was like, oh, the green hits are going to be so good. And we were like, yeah, but we've like done really well on green. You know, it's statistically like the best one. And we just like did it. And then, I don't know.
Were we blue? I'm trying to remember.
You guys were blue. And so what ended up happening was, so Storm did dump, but I think we lost the game when you guys on blue got 2 hits on us within the first like few minutes, and we had.
That was always our plan from blue. You just absolutely destroy green.
Destroy green.
And forget about red.
And I think in a game where, like those Ascension type games, like that was really strong, and we definitely should have taken blue.
We 100% did it more aggressively than we would have normally because we knew Storm would dump.
Yeah.
So like we were just like, if we just get bases on Aftershock, Storm's going to dump, and we would just easily win this game. And I still just remember the last couple seconds of the game, like, 2-shot deny, watching you solo our base as I'm shooting you, but Bones' thick skull blocks the bullet, so you live, and I'm just like, mad. I do not want to leave the briefing room because I'm like, we haven't made finals for the first time ever. I'm gonna go sicko mode.
I remember, Beefy and Sean looking at each other because they heard they heard me going like, wow, because I got the base, and they heard the 2-shot time deny at our base, and they looked at each other like, did we just do it? And then we walked out. It wasn't the case, but well, no, Hobart. Yeah, definitely S tier.
Good job, Runt, if you did all this.
Thank you.
Very nicely done. And I think, the only negatives I can think of is hitting the blue base. And that stretch between red and blue did feel a bit whack. At least relative to like the red to green and the green to blue.
Something I wanted to discuss on this maze that I think is often overlooked is, I think there's only one single position in this maze where there's not a clear counter spot. So when building it, it was very pronounced and a priority that everywhere someone stands, there should be a spot to stand that counters that position. So you look at that like top of the L at green, very strong position, but there's that panel right next to it that's a very hard counter to it.
This was like the strongest panel in the arena, I reckon. This panel was insane.
Yeah, 100%. But if you went on either side of Lighthouse, or like you could get shot from there, like it's very much everywhere should have a clear counter position. The only spot I'd say didn't have that clear counter position was like that bottom left door of red. If you put an anchor there, they could stand there high angle relatively safely, and there wasn't like a spot you could go to directly counter that, but you could panel them very easily. So I think in maze design, I really hope that people have that philosophy of every spot should have a panel that nicely offsets and counters that panel. And as a result, I kind of don't think there was that much dead space in the arena. Like there was that bottom right corner where not many people stood, but people obviously took the path a lot. It was a very nice way to sneak past a blue defender.
It was.
Yeah. But yes, I think other thing is every way to go to a base, there's 2 lanes. There's 2 lanes for every base, 2 ways to approach, and usually when you're being approached, the door defender was never 100% safe when attackers were approaching. Like attackers could like take a path to, so they don't just feel like you're running in a gun. Like it feels so bad being like, time to go to green, and you're like, that's a free death for me. Like there's nothing I can do. And like so many mazes, if you want to go to a different base, you just cop a death. Whereas this one, it felt like there's 2 ways you can go depending on where they are. If you dash to the other lane, you can go through.
And H Pro makes it better because if you bait a gun, you just shoot a gun.
H2,
Wait, what did I say?
You said H Pro.
And yeah,
What?
speaking of H Pro, there's only one door, which is that like kind of jewel in the open. But even then, people didn't have to do that much, and that's that left door red again, which is
Yeah.
the door that again I don't like, but that's
I
the
think it
entrance
played
to the
fine.
maze.
I think the
Yeah.
way it played was okay.
Yeah.
My only issue that I'm just remembering now is how easy I felt it was for someone to sit under blue and watch front door. I think that was slightly too easy in my opinion, but I think it was made slightly better by H2. But even then, it was still like someone good under could
Yeah.
kill you on front door pretty consistently.
I think they at least had to step off the panel so they didn't get shot from the other door. And a lot of players you saw, like in the mid and lower tier, they couldn't panel on a wall without being directly on it. So they'd either
Yeah.
get shot over the half wall or
Get shot over that.
they couldn't control their fences properly.
Yeah.
And you did also have the option of bolting to that pillar to kind of like. But yes, that was a strong door for sure. Yeah.
All right, we only have 10 minutes, and I want Ron to talk smack about our maze.
Let's do it.
I will say, I was not there for most of the wall building. I just critiqued it at the end.
Oh, another thing. The sweeps are quick when the base is strong. When the anchor's strong, the sweeps are really fast. When the anchor's less strong, like a blue, the sweep is longer. And that was very intentional.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. I think that's definitely like what the relationship has to be, right, between the sweep and the last line.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, very nicely done. S tier. I'll just leave it on that screen for a sec. So we got. Are we happy with this? Like Hobart S, Launton 2016, Adelaide 2017 in A, Bendigo 2022 in B, Darwin and the Rumble in C, Sunny Coast and Albury in D, and then Code Red in F.
Yeah,
just for a meme. Do we feel that's about right?
I'm pretty happy. I think A's are very fondly remembered. Like I think there's a good separation between A and B. Like, and I'd say A's are closer to S's than they are to B tier. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. I'd almost put like this in the top of C tier just to like create that separation.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Like,
yeah, cool. All right, so we want to look at this curse one that I cooked up, or we cooked up the last 2 weeks. Here we go, baby. There she is in all glory. It looks really good.
I like
it.
Yeah.
Again.
It's obviously hard because none of us played the arena, but looking at it, all the doors except that bottom left door of green have like some nice gameplay. Like it all looks interesting. I think green is by far my favorite base of this. Those bases are crazy, and you get a crazy new way of playing, and I think we bring that to Australia, and it's awesome. And I watched those bases be played, and they were so much fun. They made great cinema. Like the good players were absolutely going like insane, running around the entire base, flip shotting back and forth. Like the expression of skill in those bases was like top notch.
And for those that missed it, that green base has been directly ripped off from a bases in a Finnish arena that Runt commentated on.
Yeah. There are some wacky long shots, like I was talking about. That bottom left X can see all the way to that top left door of red, the top right door, sorry. Yeah.
Chillin', bro. Chillin'.
I think that might be a bit goofy. But yes, I really like the green base. Only problem is I think it's a very different style of play to that blue and red. It's kind of like Aubrey green at Prenuts 1. It felt like a fine, weaker base, but the style of play was so different to blue and red at Aubrey that it felt a bit goofy having them in the same arena. Whereas like Hobart, they were all different bases and they were played uniquely, but they were similarly balanced kind of thing. So I think this would be a maze with very clear unbalanced, but like Aubrey blue, really good lunging base. Like if we're gonna play a lunging base, I don't love a lunging base, but if we're gonna play one, that's my favorite one by far.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Red base is very similar to Hobart, so I obviously quite like it a bit, but I think there's some goofy things. I think the V's a bit too far back, and they'd be very, very strong on that in comparison to like I don't know. But I like all of it. I think the mid player was intelligently done. It looks really fun. I'd say like A tier based on not playing it.
You haven't even talked about the law circles and ramps.
I don't
and the
know.
back
I wasn't.
reloads, bro.
I dipped out, and I don't know what the law circles are.
I was just like, there was so much dead space, and I was like,
Yeah.
this looks stupid. Just put law circles, make it stupid.
Yeah,
and then a ramp up to a viewing deck, so you can watch law from up top.
And I love viewing decks. Viewing decks are awesome. I am sad you guys put one ramp in the top right, because I think that space could have been used and should be used for like some barrels or like some extra gameplay around that zigzag, so there's not just the zigzag. So I wish that space was used for something. I like the reloads around the bases. I think they're great. I
think it's cool as hell.
Yeah, where you'd obviously need to figure out how to not let blue interior be shot from the outside, but that's a minor moot point because I'm sure there's an easy solution. Like put some flaps on the door, like you know those takeaway shops how you have the hanging flaps. Put some of them on there. You're set. You're so set.
As you're leaving, you just push the flaps on.
That's awesome.
It's like on H Pro how you stand in front of a player so you can be reflected off. You just like hold the door open for your teammate to shoot.
I hate it so much.
Oh, that's so cringe, bro.
Please talk smack about these stupid half-wall X's with barrels on them.
They're awesome.
They look fun. You're not gonna get,
yes!
you're not gonna get anything from me there. I think I do think that half walls in the center of the mazes are often bad because they create way too long sight lines and you just cop free deaths randomly when moving throughout the arena because nobody's gonna move through the arena below half height. So I don't love them in the center of the arena, but they look fine. Yeah, no, I think it looks fun. It's a good formula to just take like 3 good bases and put them in a maze with a similar layout to like a good layout. So I'm happy. I'd say A tier.
Hey,
A tier.
we changed Hobart Green. The other two are carbon copies.
Look, I feel like that green would play slightly worse, but obviously similar. I think the sweep's a little bit less interesting, and I think you lose the box and you get less of a shoot through, which is something. But yeah, I think to run at the doors on that, it looks too hard for attackers to nicely run at doors, and the anchor feels too safe. Like with Hobart, the doors are wide, so the anchor can't feel safe watching one door, but they can flip nicely to watch a second. So that's kind of the dynamic of Hobart Green, and you get it here, but not quite as nicely. But I do like that you can double back as soon as you get in the base. And I think there was meant to be that left barrel on the top door as well, right?
It was there, and then I got rid of it because it looked really, really cramped in the red base.
Yeah, interesting.
So I just removed it.
I think fun looking maze, A tier.
Hell yeah. Well, who wants to make this bad boy a reality? Let me know, and we'll make it happen. Or maybe, I don't know, Aubrey can. I really want to play this green base. It looks really
Sunny Coast
fun.
players, you need to bully Mopar into making that green base. You need to do it.
It looks awesome.
If I have enough alcohol, and he'll do it.
I don't know if there's a space though, but maybe.
All right, A tier.
Definitely could do it in Aubrey.
That's awesome. Well, how much time have we got? When do you have to go,
Run
Run?
has to go.
In 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes. That's cool. Well, we can just wrap it up there. Like we went through all the ZLTAC arenas. We did.
What is
the
that?
arena we
Oh,
built.
is that your new blue? Yeah, that's your new.
Yeah, that's the
Brisbane.
new one.
Yeah.
Put it in F.
Alright.
Aubrey printouts 1. Do we want to like quickly off the rip?
All right,
Yeah.
let's rip it up. Boom. I really liked it. I think. Oh shit. I really liked it. The only thing I didn't like about Aubrey was the green base interior was like way weaker than like the red and blue, and then the green front door was really cursed to play as a door defender. So those were the only things I actually didn't really like about this arena. And then also there was the reflex off the reflex off the back of that red wall, which you could hit with like the strong packs, but not all the other packs. But
I've got literally 1 minute, so I'm just gonna cook real quick. There's only 2 good base doors, and that's actually the front door of green when there's no snipers. But when there's snipers, it obviously ruins it very heavily. The other doors, like that left door blue, probably the worst door I've ever played. Like that feels
That
horrible
was
to try to
cringe.
come up against. And red is a really, I think that base with the half height and being able to be shot over the half height was going to be really fun, and then they patched that pretty much the day of pre-nats and ruined that base, and now it's super boring and powerful, and the shoot through is oppressive and not
The
in a
shoot through
fun
was
way.
really impressive.
And because there's no counter positions to the people in the shoot through positions, so it's just bad. And I really hope they change that red base, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to. And green was just goofy as hell and didn't fit the rest of the maze and wasn't good. Anyway, bye guys. Thanks for
Goodbye. Thanks for joining us, Run.
having me.
B tier. Okay.
Bye bye.
Ron makes a good point. I think, yeah, that top door of green, you know, you don't really have any 50-50 structures there. So obviously a lot of this
Nexus
is like
makes
kinda
all this worse.
Nexus makes it worse, but I think irregardless of that, I enjoy having 50-50 structures on doors, and that top one here doesn't have one. There isn't one on this door here. I think the front door blue felt fine, but it was just like this enormous open space here, super vulnerable to snipes and stuff, which felt a bit cringe. I think the red front door played okay. I think that was fine. Actually, I didn't mind either of the red doors by themselves, but yeah, the cross shot through the base, like Runt was saying, was really oppressive. It was very cringe. What do you reckon?
I actually think the opposite. I like backdoor of green. I think the way that I like having a dueling door. That's something that I've always enjoyed. I think Nexus makes that worse. I like how blue played, but the backdoor of blue played because I like dueling. So like it makes, but I also understand what Runt and you were saying. But I think it worked well, and it worked better on H2, like because you won't
definitely do better.
You'll be able to sit on that wall, and if you kill the person, you can pin the person under, and then they can switch, and maybe someone else can run in. I wish blue was literally where the little U was. Like, it's just slightly closer.
A bit closer.
And if it was slightly closer, they got rid of the TARDIS. They maybe changed a little bit of the cover on the front door of blue. I liked how open blue front door was. I didn't play it much, but it felt okay when I was there. Green interior was, I don't know why it was average. It just didn't feel good.
It didn't feel good.
But it didn't feel terrible. So I don't know if there's something there.
But it definitely felt worse than red and blue. I think it was more of the issue.
That was the issue. I think if they fixed that somehow, with Spider was tossing, turning about, completely just turning the T the other way and seeing if it felt better that way, maybe, because then the right-hander can hold high on back door, and then they can crouch down and watch front door, and then our left-hander's low and then high. And it could be nicer that way, but I also just think where green is, the run from green to red is so heavily favored to red. Yeah, it's insane. Like Spider and I had this thing in the finals where, I don't know, if you move your mouse slightly, like the mid of red to the right slightly, Spider would sit there / absolutely just pushing into green just constantly, and I would sit like one panel back, one bottom. Yeah, I'd sit there watching through a sight line all the way to blue, where I'd get dinged sometimes. No one could
I remember
sneak
you sitting there, you little gremlin, dude.
Yeah, no one could sneak around. Spider would push in, and then Spider would pin, and I would go for a little crazy lunge on Ninja or whoever was holding the tight spot, and then would kill them, and then would just two-man through backdoor. So like the push from red to green was very impressive.
It's stronger that way.
Back from green to red wasn't very good, and I think I really would like them to see. I hate grills. Grills are goofy.
Grills are cringe.
These little rat holes are goofy as well.
Yeah. This one especially.
Hans loved it because he would play front door of green and he would kill someone, and then you could shoot someone through the grill in the base if they were paneling wrong, or like he would just do all these weird things. He was talking about how many dings he would get at the start of the game from green. He would go from the front door to that bottom grill, the top right one, and just shoot everyone who comes through mid.
No, that's true.
They would expect no one to be there, but because you could get there so quickly, you just shoot them through the grill. It was terrible. Get rid of the grills. Get rid of the grill. The big grill at red. You could be under.
Red was so hard to hit.
You can be under, defending backdoor, and look through that grill and see green. Pretty much, you could nearly see the back door of green. I'm pretty sure you could see it. I don't know if you could hit shots consistently,
No, that I miss. Like I had so many shots that didn't land through that great RNG.
I think if green mid play, if like just say they got rid of, see where your mouse is, move it slightly down. Oh no, up. I've got my cursor on the screen. I was getting confused. The wall just above that to the right. If just say like they got rid of that wall and moved the L with the barrel slightly more into the open and had like the green sweep was really strong and like you could sweep very easily. They're like something more interesting. It could be crazy. Like one thing that was like utilized a lot by Cans and you would talk about it a lot. Do you see where like the little rat holes are? That little like the Z just underneath your mouse there. He would use that and catch people off guard a lot. And he was telling me about how like strong that was to like sweep
Yeah, it was
quickly.
this like getting field points in this area here was really strong for sure.
Yeah. I just think there was some. I really liked red. The cross shots were an issue, and how easy it was to hold was an issue. That's slightly better on H2. I don't like backdoor of red because the way that the grills play. Get rid of the grills.
Yeah.
Leave it the same for prenats 2. Try it out. I think it could be okay. I reckon you need to change some of the walls from green to red. Like, give green a slight more advantage, maybe some more cover or something.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
Sit on. I don't know where exactly, but it needs that strength. But the red and blue, very good bases. I understand the problems that Runt has with red, but I also like how it plays still. I just wish they moved the L or whatever, not under, like just the main shooter spot, slightly down, like closer to front door, and then it's harder to hold. The pins are easier, the dives are easier. It would feel nicer.
Yeah, it does. It definitely needs to be a little bit closer to front. Hey, like it was such a long distance to cover to try and get anyone out of that V.
Yeah, I really liked how the box played under. Green. I genuinely liked green. We thought green was one of our best bases till the end, and when we just like you just get farmed a little too much on front door. Back door was strong. The base was strong in a sense because your back door was strong, but your front door was weak. So you just kind of watch front door, but
yeah, I think as soon as you have like a non-trigger lockout system, like if you kept this same green base, it would get even weaker on especially on H2.
100%.
I don't know. Where would you put it on a tier list scale? Oh no, I need to upload it.
I think if we put out of B tier, I think it can go B. I really enjoyed this maze.
I did as well.
Before all the stats came out, we were talking about, my team was talking about how balanced we thought it was.
Yeah. I think we definitely didn't have the same balancing issues that other teams had like during the tournament. I guess like Aftershock as well. We kind of were fine everywhere. That being said, on the last stage, like green, like a lot of teams definitely struggled to win from green. That being said, I think we actually made finals from green, if I'm not mistaken, or we won a game on the last day from green. Maybe not the golden game one, but we won something.
See, I think of green as the base that's hard to take and hard to defend, like a red base at Sun and Coast, or what other base is that? This is like a deny heavy base. Like it's hard to get, it's hard to defend though. And I think
I don't think it was. Yeah, we didn't have trouble getting it. We thought green was like way too easy to attack for us.
Oh really?
Yeah, we found it super easy.
I don't think I had trouble, but that's just how I kind of felt like the way that the base played. I don't know what they can do though. With the space and where the base is. Maybe they could move the green base slightly down.
That's true. It could make it a little bit closer to blue, so like blue doesn't have to move up because it's a bit like closer. You know what I mean?
Then maybe green's just getting dominated from both sides now, and it's just worse.
Poor things. That's true.
But maybe that could make it better because it's like what I'm saying. It's the harder base to get.
Yeah.
You're gonna get denied. You're gonna have.
I guess yeah. If it's getting dominated from both sides, it means like people attacking your base are gonna have a hard time getting it because the other team's gonna be shooting them as well. I'm happy with B tier though. I think I definitely enjoyed it more than I personally enjoyed Darwin.
I'm mad about Darwin. Runt's cooked.
Now that Runt's gone, cooked. Where do you want to put Darwin?
I would put Darwin above
Aubrey. I would as well.
I really like Darwin.
But I would definitely put Darwin below Launton, Adelaide, and Hobart. But yeah, now that that guy's gone.
All right, you cook on Adelaide. I need to piss very badly.
All right, I actually need to piss as well. So let's both do it. I'm gonna go to a AFK screen for like however long it takes us to piss, and then we'll finish up with like the current Adelaide one, and I can cry a little bit about how small it is compared to what it used to be, and then we'll wrap up. So bear with us. One moment. We got weak bladders over here.
So they couldn't hear us?
No, they couldn't hear us, but we're back. Hello.
Hello.
What did I miss? Benny talking smack.
As always.
Benny teaching to back. Yeah, you don't want Benny teaching you to back, trust me. All right. What have we got left? There's a couple arenas we could talk on. We talk about current Lawton and current Adelaide, if you want. I'm keen to talk about current Adelaide.
I'm fine. I'm keen to like gloss over Lawton if you want to quickly do it before you can just like ramble about Adelaide and then we can end it.
All right, yeah, I think we'll do current Lawton, Adelaide, and then we'll wrap it up. Wax, what's wrong with it?
All right.
Red looks so good. Green
is an S tier.
Yeah. Green is an S tier base for sure.
Green is so S tier, it's not even funny. So red is probably better than the Brisbane Nationals red. The only thing that sucks is there's the mirror and the grills are still there on backdoor. So backdoor is a bit janky, and if you sit on the ramp, there's still a reflect that kind of sucks. And the snipes from front door, you can kind of sit pretty far away, and it's average. But everything else about the base, amazing. Blue is probably one of the worst H Pro bases ever created. Like it on a H2, it could probably slap. It would actually be pretty decent. Could take a lot of skill to hold the wall. I don't know if you see where one man zone is in that wall. Yeah. That wall is called carpet, and it is the stupidest wall ever on H Pro. You just lock onto the wall and you can shoot both doors without dying. Even if someone's pinning you. Like it is the way you attack this base is you let the other team do something and then you do something at the exact same time, and you pray that your timing was slightly later than theirs so that you can actually get a base. It is terrible.
That's so gross.
I will say the way that the outside of the base plays, the mid play and backdoor, I actually enjoy. The only issue is on backdoor, you're dueling in the open sometimes and you'll just get shot by carpet. So if you couldn't get shot by carpet, the backdoor would be good. front door.
What
is
this
terrible.
this door that's
Yeah, yeah.
open as hell.
The way that it plays is like you can duel on some of the walls, and you have a nice angle on mid. And it's actually, I really enjoy how it plays. You just get shot from carpet, and it just sucks.
Yeah.
The mid play here is really strong and dominant, but it's like it feels good to duel in the middle and stuff. Front door is terrible.
Front door
Green,
looks really. Is it really tight? It looks tight.
it's not as tight as it looks. It looks worse on a map. There's enough space, but it's still tight. And you can't. It's like you're just down this funnel, and the guy on carpet can just sit there and
Yeah.
shoot you. The way that green plays, every wall that you see there is reflective and it's terrible. Like, so do you see where the mid sweep is? Like, you come through mid, and that
Yeah.
back wall, that bottom wall there.
Yeah. This one.
Oh no, like the bottom, like down the bottom beneath. Lower. One more. So that whole wall is reflective. So you can't go
Okay.
into mid without getting. So the person under can reflect you from under and just snipe you.
Where do people play? Like in this box still? I'm guessing the one man.
The whole box, every wall in the box is reflective, so you can't even sit in the box without dying.
What?
Yeah, so you sit under the base and you kind of play on that like weird little wall.
Yeah.
And the way it plays is fun, but that wall above the barrel on front door, completely reflective. So you just shoot the wall as someone's running in. Under the base, if someone shoots the little like only wall you have from back door, there's a little nail, and you can hit the nail and reflect and kill someone.
Oh
It is, in theory, the way it actually plays isn't terrible. Even with the reflex, it just still sucks ass. It's not as bad as blue, but it still is like average as well.
This little box thing looks cursed as hell as well.
It's not
Like
that
below
bad.
the box. It's
not
not.
that bad. It's like a grill
cursed.
on the ramp, and it's just kind of where you pin, like you get ready to run in to dive under. It's not that bad. Like, realistically, this base isn't terrible, but the reflex, if the mid reflect and the front door reflect weren't as bad, like if they were like less egregious, it would actually be okay. But
So would you say it's defender or attack sided?
it's so
or neither?
like blue is so strong for defense. Red is pretty good for defense, but like if you're a good player, you can get into red. Green is like you kind of just throw yourself at them and try and shoot them from front door. That front door is so dangerous. Like, you just have people trying to exit, and people are just blind diving like 100 kilometers an hour, just switch shot trying to shoot under, and it's very dangerous.
Yeah, that sounds cringe. Where would you put it?
Bring up the.
Let me upload it as well. Current Norton. Yeah, where would you put it?
See, having Sunny Coast in D is still.
I'm not moving it, bro. I'm not moving it.
You actually hate it that much?
I did.
Okay, well, it has to go. I think it goes beneath that.
Okay, hold up. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'll move Sunny Coast to the bottom of C.
Okay, I'm here for this.
That's as high as I'm going with that thing.
All right, put it.
Where are we putting Lawton?
Put it above Aubrey. I really didn't like Aubrey, but you can put it beneath Aubrey if you want.
Above Aubrey.
Because red base is still one of the best bases.
What's this one here? We
That's,
already did that.
Yeah,
right,
that's
right. Right. Can I delete it? I don't think I can. Well, that's just there. Above Aubrey. All right. I think that's fair. We'll finish up. I'll talk about the current Adelaide Arena, and then we'll wrap up the show, and we'll probably finish at like 2.5 hours, which I think is a good innings. Oh, that's my Steam. Hello. Where am I?
Almost. Yep.
Nuts Arena. Bomb.
Oh my god, it's so small.
It's so small.
You made the reloads both directions as well.
Yeah, we did.
That's
It is the reloads are fun. I think actually I wouldn't be opposed because green's definitely like statistically the strongest one. I wouldn't be opposed to making a change where we make. Yeah, you just spurred me on to make it like yeah. I think we'll do that. We're gonna do that as of next week actually. That's for all the Adelaide guys. That bottom reload is going to be directional from blue to green. So if you're a green guy in the back door, you have to go all the way around.
I think both the reloads should be like that. Maybe
Nah. Oh, I guess you could do it for the top one as well. There's some really like cooked stuff you can do with like this top reload. It's really fun. So obviously there's like half heights that like append it on the end. This spot here is really, 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 really strong. That's where like if you're the green front door person, you play here, you get 0, you go all the way up to here, and now you can see like through the middle of the arena. You can shoot people all the way at back. You can shoot people going through. Take a few steps, you can shoot down here. Take a few more steps, you can shoot here. It's very strong. But what I'm particularly fond of is if you go through the reload from the red side and you just like crouch really low so they can't see you over the half height. Usually people play this like with a high hold so their back is to the reload. And then, yeah, you can like sneak through. And I love to like, I'll get past them. I'll be really quiet and I won't shoot them until I'm like on the baseline. And then I'll shoot them in the back and then run in. You can do some shenanigans like that. So like you can, this is a really strong spot, but you can use the reload to kind of keep people honest and stuff. It's pretty memes. It's really sad if someone does it to you, but it's memes as hell. Yeah, what else? I actually really like our green base. You can hold it with 2 in the base, but like anyone sets up a pin, it's pretty easy. Like if they set up a pin and they execute it on it properly, it's like both people are guaranteed dead. So I like being able to hold 2 in a base as long as you can. If you set up a good coordinated play with your team, it's like done. So I actually really enjoy green. The front door of green, I enjoy the play of. The back door's okay, but there's actually a mirror on this back wall here, so you can like reflect like people's trying to sit on the back of this barrel, which on Nexus is like a good thing because as an attacker, you can come here and shoot them off the thing without having to take a Nexus duel. But on like a trigger lockout system, it's a bit cringe. Red, I think this back door is a bit cooked. And there's nowhere really for a door defender to stand except like on the baseline pretty much, which is a bit dangerous. And it also makes it like, even if you're an attacker and you shoot that person, like you have to go around them, which is a bit cringe. And then the front door, there's not like a 50-50 structure. So like on Nexus, especially like someone on the front door can be really oppressive. Obviously you're super open to the middle of the arena. So if you, let's say you're a green person attacking red, you know, your attacker goes in. If you are being proactive about field pointing, you can very easily help through there. So I think even though there's no 50-50 structure on the front of red, it being open to the arena means you can kind of catch out door defenders. The red itself, I really enjoy the play of. The only issue is our barrels currently, you can shoot through them. So if I have like my chest to a barrel like this, or I have my back to the barrel, you shoot it, and then on most of the packs, the shot will just go through the barrel, like straight up through the barrel, and shoot you on the other side. So that's really cringe. Also, if you have a good pack, and let's say someone's sitting in this front pocket of red watching this front door, you can load up on this pin spot, shoot the barrel, and reflect them. And then you go, okay, I'm getting reflected. And so you instead play in the back pocket and you're watching front. Someone can load up on like, they get to here and they shoot like this back diagonal wall and shoot you in the back. So, and then also there's this half height here. So lots of people like to do like sneak takes, I guess, where they'll win the duel in the back door here. They'll start taking from the half height, which is kind of fun. There's a little bit of great RNG, which is always a bit cooked. But the issue is this panel here is like most of it's painted, but there's just one panel here that's like not painted. It is the single most reflective thing I've ever seen on the planet. So it's a bit cursed. And you'll do stuff like if you have a good back and you're in this back pocket of red, it is like almost impossible to get through the back door because the back pocket person doesn't even reach to shoot you. They just shoot the wall here and reflect you. So
I really want to know what 2 teams dumping in this match would look like. Can it even happen? Could it even like? Is there enough space for 15 people to be at a base? It would act. Oh my gosh. I
think it's kind of feasible at green, which I mean it does happen semi often. Red. Nah, there's like no room. And blue. Yeah, red. Blue makes blue's like I don't know. It's okay for it, I guess.
I really want to remake this, but knock every wall down and just like reuse the walls and just see if we can make it like slightly better.
That's another stream. That's an 8-hour stream right there. We're going by how long it took us to do this one.
Fucking's here ready.
Yeah, Fuckin's ready. Yeah, for reference, Wax, Fuckin, and I was sitting in Discord for literally like 6 to 8 hours one day, just like trying to remake this arena with like how small it was, and with the added challenge of to save money, not having to use any more panels than what I had. So I went through and I measured the length of every single panel in the arena, and then I like had them like listed, and then like I had to just like use the panels we had to try and make it. It was a bloody task and a half. But
and we couldn't move some of the stuff as well, so it had to be somewhat similar to some of the bases as well.
I would be keen to do, maybe we could do a stream where we like the challenge is making an arena in something like this small. That could be fun. We'll organize something at some point. And I think the only other thing I'll talk about is like with this blue base. It's really hard. Like, so on Nexus especially, I mean, it would be cringe on H Pro, but we don't have this as like a one-man zone. Maybe we should. I guess we could do that as well from a balancing standpoint, but like occasionally we'll get like 2 people locked in here. It's so hard to get them. It is really, really hard because it's really hard to set up the pins because you got a door defender here that's obviously got something to say about it, and on Nexus, like, it's really hard to beat them in the duel. But on top of that, for you to get to this pin spot on like this back door, you have to be dead first because the last line will shoot you on the way, and it's a half height, so you have to like crouch behind it as well. It's cooked. And the other thing is like you can't activate tight without the pin person being active first because you just get shot straight away, and that's the same on the front door as well. And the other thing is, for you to pin on this front door, you have to do it on this side of the barrel to pin, which is like pretty far to pin from. You can still do it because if you go on this panel, you can get reflected off the barrel.
I just saw the most cooked thing ever. Make blue base just 2 half-height walls, and you gotta like crouch down in between it, so only one person can sit in there.
In blue.
All the grills. You can shoot under. Oh, that'd be crazy.
That would be so gross.
Oh my god, cursed as hell.
Yeah, true. Good shout out, Jimmy. If you want to see our arena in action, we just streamed our Salsa stream there, first like South Australian Premier League on Twitch. I think it's SA Laser Sports is what the Twitch name is. We streamed it on there. We have like roaming cams, so we've got like 3 people with like phones that just like can walk around the arena and follow the action. So if you want to see how this arena plays out, you can give SA Laser Sports a follow and then watch the thing there. I think there's also a Salsa YouTube channel where we upload the VODs as well. Yeah, no, that like a V of like half height sounds so cringe.
Jimmy's
right?
hips, Jimmy's knees, Jimmy's hips, Jimmy's everything.
Jimmy's everything.
And he's just gonna die. Holy.
Yeah, guys like Beefy just like won't be able to play in that blue base either.
It's just... I really want to try and do this again. We need to do that. Just
all right, we'll make it happen. We'll make a stream out of it.
Surely you can just put something in the barrel to make it not like able to be shot through.
I think what we're currently looking at is putting like vinyl over it. Because I think it's a little, the way the barrels are built in Adelaide, it's a bit cringe to like, I don't think like it'd be really tedious to like take it off and then like stuff like old rags or something in it and then put it back on. So yeah, we're looking at maybe doing some vinyl or something. Yeah, I don't know.
What do you reckon, Tier? Where does this base?
How
does it compete?
I think it's. I enjoyed it more. I enjoy it more than I enjoyed Sunny Coast, actually. I'll put it there. I'll put it there.
The Sunny
This
Coast
is how much I
Slender
didn't enjoy
wild.
Sunny Coast. Get it out of here.
It's wild because if you asked me in 2019, I actually would have been on.
You would have
this boat.
agreed.
It would have been F tier, worse than Code Red. Like I hated it that much, but I think it's grown on me a little bit.
I think, yeah, between C and D, I think it with such a small space, it's pretty good for the space we have. I think if in a perfect world we had like infinite money resources and we could scrap the entire thing and then just like build it from scratch, like with not having to take into consideration what panels we already have and the leaving any structures in place, we could definitely make it better. Probably, I think we could even get it to like, you know, because I mean, Darwin was an example of an arena that used a. Darwin and Adelaide are kind of similar in terms of dimensions. I think Darwin's a little bit more rectangular, whereas Adelaide's a bit more square. Darwin's an example of an arena where like they use the space very well. I think we could get like a B tier, maybe even a low A tier arena out of something that small. But yeah, we need like perfect world resources and stuff. So maybe that'll be a future stream. But anyway, I'll post a screenshot of that as well on the Laser Sports Academy Facebook group and Instagram so people can.
Ron's gonna be confused.
He's gonna be so confused. He's like, "What the hell is Darwin doing in B?" Get him out of here. Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll stop sharing my screen. Boom. I don't know. Have you got anything you'd like to say?
I enjoyed that. I wish we had more time though to like cook about some of the other mazes we've run.
Yeah, we had to rush like the last like couple a little bit, which was but Runt's a busy man. Yeah, if you didn't know, I don't know how to do stream raids. I don't know how that works. But
you just do like exclamation mark raid and then you type their name. So maybe you could. Can
I just do that in the chat?
Yeah, but don't type because it like insta just sends everyone, I'm pretty sure. Do you know what the name for it is?
Yeah. So I was gonna say, if you didn't know, currently they're streaming the Swedish Nationals on Twitch. So if anyone, like, obviously we're wrapping up the stream now, but if you want to keep consuming some like laser tag content, I want to see what the Swedes are getting up to, you can go and see them there. What do I just put in, like the account name, or do I put in a URL? Does anyone in Twitch chat know? How do I do a raid? The account name. So I go exclamation mark raid and that. Okay. I won't press enter yet. We'll wrap this up. If not, I'll just look like a silly bugger in the chat. But yeah, no, thank you very much for joining me, Wax. Obviously Runt's not here, but thank you, Runt, for joining us. Yeah, that was a bit of fun. Just doing a ZLTAC tier list along with a couple extras. I think obviously we talked a lot of smack about a lot of these arenas, but there's a lot of time and energy that gets put into building and designing these arenas. So even if we've rated one poorly, don't take it as a lack of appreciation of the time and effort that goes into making these things. And it is really hard to make genuinely good arenas and bases and stuff. So anyway, I hope we didn't offend anyone. But yeah. I don't know. Tomorrow, I think at 4 p.m. Adelaide time, it's like the last stream in like this batch of arena streams I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be looking at, might look at the arena, like the Albury Peanuts 1 maze map, and just talk a little bit about what you should be thinking about as a player, as a team, trying to figure out an arena for the first time. Because I think that's like one of the big things that like can separate teams like at a tournament is like who is able to figure out the arena quick enough, or more importantly, who's able to figure out the most important parts about the arena quick enough. You know what I mean? Like the fundamentals of the arena. So a little bit of a chat about that. That's what I've got planned for tomorrow. We'll see what shenanigans ends up happening. So if anyone's free, you can come down. If anyone wants to choose some shit in Discord, we can jump in Discord and do that as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you, Wax.
Thank you for having me, Ryan.
No, it was good fun, bro. I'm gonna do this raid thing and see if it does anything, and if not, that's kind of funny. Anyway, what am I doing? I'm gonna transition to an offline screen. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.